By the agreement we have negotiated with the UK.
This after Parliament here in London voted to instruct Prime Minister Theresa May to go back to Brussels and reopen talks.
This is Fox News.
Minus 19? Yes, you heard correctly. 44 below for the wind chill. It's 5:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. That deadly Arctic deep freeze enveloping the Midwest, forcing widespread closures of schools, offices, prompting the Postal Service to take the rare step of suspending mail delivery to a wide swath of the region because of the cold. Here in Chicago, CTA buses turned into mobile warming shelters to encourage the homeless to come off the streets, where the forecast overnight tumbled. Mayor Rahm Emanuel says the risk is too great for those on the streets to stay out.
The temperatures today are not, and rather today, tomorrow, and Thursday are not to be taken lightly. These are actually a public health risk.
Major Chicago attractions, including the Lincoln Park Zoo, the Art Institute, the Field Museum, are not opening today. Governors in Illinois, Wisconsin, and Michigan declaring emergencies. Extreme weather conditions prompting Amtrak to cancel all trains into and out of Chicago. Short distance and long distance overnight trains all canceled for today. Short distance service is canceled for Thursday as well.
I try to keep a positive attitude, is that I'm not as fond of cold winter weather as I used to be, having to work in it all the time, but it's my job.
That man on the way to work at Chicago O'Hare, where 284 flights have been canceled, 283 at Midway. About 40% of departing flights have been canceled. Frigid weather blanketing the area, obviously, means no school for thousands of Chicago public school students and hundreds of thousands of suburban and statewide school kids. They'll get to spend the next 2 days home. The Archdiocese of Chicago announcing that almost all of its 209 schools will close today and Thursday. Universities like DePaul, Northwestern, Loyola, Columbia, UIC, University of Chicago, Trinity in Palos, St. Xavier, Lewis, Concordia, all closing. Major community colleges like Triton and River Forest will stay closed through Thursday. Turning to other news this morning, Chicago Alderman Danny Solis is resigning as chairman of the City Council Zoning Committee. His resignation follows a scathing Sun-Times report yesterday that detailed corruption allegations that led to Solis working with the FBI and secretly recording conversations. That news did not seem to have an impact on the most powerful Democrat at the Illinois Capitol, who says he doesn't think he's under federal investigation. House Speaker Mike Madigan yesterday telling reporters he doesn't believe he's part of that federal probe, in spite of being caught on tape from a wire worn by Danny Solis, who's working with federal prosecutors. In reaction to Tuesday's explosive Sun-Times story, Madigan says he has not been contacted by the U.S. Attorney's Office in relation to the case. Bill Daley getting a big boost in his bid for mayor. Cubs owner Tom Ricketts donating $25,000 to the campaign of the former Commerce Secretary. Right now, he tops the field of 14 candidates in fundraising. Authorities continue investigating a deadly house fire this week in Hometown. The blaze broke out Monday night in the 4500 block of 90th Place. Firefighters found that man dead under debris near the home's front window. Bond is also set at $250,000 for a Kenosha, Wisconsin man charged in the death of a state trooper earlier this month in the northern suburbs. Scott Larson appeared in a Skokie courtroom yesterday on charges of reckless homicide in the death of Trooper Chris Lambert. No one is in custody as Chicago police continue to investigate a possible hate crime involving a television actor, Jussie Smollett. Authorities say two approached the actor early yesterday on North Lower Water Street and yelled, according to Smollett, racial and homophobic slurs at him. The attackers hit Smollett, according to the police report, poured an unknown chemical substance on him, and wrapped a rope around his neck before leaving the scene. Chicago sports, D'Angelo Russell poured in a game-high 30. Nets over the Bulls in Brooklyn, 122-117. Bulls head coach Jim Boylan says they put up a good fight.
You know, I thought we battled. I thought we hung around, trying to put 3 stops together to try to take the lead. Never quite got over the hump there.
Zach LaVine led the Bulls with 26. Blackhawks continue their second half of the season on the road Friday night against Buffalo. Illinois men's basketball in Minnesota tonight to play the Golden Gophers. In other college basketball action, Northwestern lost to number 24 Maryland, and Northern Illinois beat Ohio on AM 560 last night, 71-60.
Thorpe running the floor with German. Oh, look at German hang and score.
Dante Thorpe with 20 points and 6 assists in win number 100 for coach Mark Montgomery. Tonight, DePaul hosts Villanova. Plenty of action in the Valley, including Loyola hosting Northern Iowa. The news service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. If you're traveling for work, make your next stop La Quinta by Wyndham. Their spacious rooms and free high-speed internet makes it easy to work, while their comfortable beds and Brightside breakfast make it easy to relax. Win it business wherever you go. Book at LQ.com. 5:08, and we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Winter stinks. Snow, ice, freezing temperatures, more snow. Escape Chicago and join Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. You'll stay at the Marvel Residences Luxury Resort in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. It's a beautiful, all-inclusive resort located between Rainforest Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. Don't wait to book your Passport to Paradise trip with AM 560 and Apple Vacations. Visit 560theanswer.com/passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Hey, I'm Andy. If you don't know me, it's probably because I'm not famous. But I did start a men's grooming company called Harry's. The idea for Harry's came out of a frustrating experience I had buying razor blades. Most brands were overpriced, over-designed, and out of touch. At Harry's, our approach is simple. Here's our secret. We make sharp, durable blades and sell them at honest prices for as low as $2 each. We care about quality so much that we do some crazy things, like buy a world-class German blade factory. Obsessing over every detail means we're confident in offering a 100% quality guarantee. Millions of guys have already made the switch to Harry's, so thank you if you're one of them. And if you're not, we hope you give us a try with this special offer. Get a Harry starter set with a 5-blade razor, weighted handle, shave gel, and a travel cover. All for just $3 plus free shipping. Just go to harrys.com and enter 4343 at checkout. That's harrys.com, code 4343. Enjoy.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Whether it's a monthly challenge to meet your goals, a training program for your next race, or setting a new personal best, the Peloton bike will make you want to show up and keep climbing the live leaderboard year-round. Learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com or visit your local showroom.
5:11. Let's check the roads this early morning in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Whiteboards at O'Hare this morning show 977 cancellations, 323 at Midway. There are some delays as well. South Shoreline service is suspended today. Trains are not running. Officials evaluate weather later and make a decision about tomorrow. Metra has modified schedules with fewer trains running on all lines except the Heritage Corridor. Brookfield, train gates are stuck down on Prairie at Brookfield Avenue. Expressways and tollways are pretty light, as you might expect. The northbound Tri-State, from the ramp to westbound I-80, there's a crash partly blocking that ramp. Eastbound 390 at Gary, there's a stall. The emergency snow plan is in place for minor crashes. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer starts next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Wind chill warning in effect through Thursday. Sunny, breezy, very cold today, high -13. Clear and cold tonight, dangerous levels, low -24. For tomorrow, increasing cloudiness and a high at -3. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Well, here are your temps right now. -20 at O'Hare, -18 along the lakefront, -19 Lansing, -22 in Aurora, -45 to 52 at nearly every reporting station for the wind chill. It's not all bad news for Illinois. You get south of I-64, they actually are in double-digit temperatures, meaning 10 to 16 degrees this morning in Cairo. Your next news at 5:30, Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy starts now on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Tasty Catering. Companies serious about a successful event choose Tasty Catering. Planning begins at tastycatering.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning from Ice Station Zebra. Dan and Amy, we're at work. Why aren't you at work? Why aren't you at school?
Lazy bums.
Polar Vortex, I hope you took the under because according to my dash, I heard Mike Scott say it was -20. My dash.
What does your dash
on my
say?
finely engineered German vehicle?
Which, by the way, he has heated parking, but yeah, what?
-18 when I pulled in. It did not get above -18 on my drive from the city to here.
Mine was -19.
Yeah, well,
First car didn't start, so then I had to.
Yeah.
And it was so cold
How cold was it?
that my radio didn't work. Isn't that strange? Radio did not work, and I was being nice, and I
Not
offered
sure that has
people
anything to do with the
rides.
cold, but-
I don't know, but I offered people rides on the way to work. I saw a TSA agent. Listen to that. He had the TSA jacket on, a hat, no gloves.
Can't afford them because you missed a paycheck.
Thank you. So I offered him a ride, but I was fully dressed. I had my face mask on and my goggles and my Viking hat, and I think he was scared.
You often pick up hitchhikers. You're the one who still does that.
I'm the one. I'm still. Well, he was.
I haven't seen a
freezing out.
hitchhiker since the last hitchhiker I saw, and the first one I saw in forever, was when I was in Florida over the holidays, like by an on-ramp to the expressway. I mean, nobody hitchhikes anymore.
That's stupid. They should hitchhike.
Especially because they're good Samaritans like you out there, ready and willing to pick them up.
There's some crazy guy. He's always walking his bike on Arlington Heights Road at 4 a.m. Did you see him?
Yeah, I see him all the time.
Yeah, well, I offered him a ride, too.
It's a motorbike.
Oh, that's what that is?
Yeah, because sometimes he's on it.
Well, he's not on it today, and I offered him a ride, and he just went, no, thank you.
I'm not
He's
even.
Asian.
No, sure, obviously, with that impersonation.
Your hat is god awful. That is the worst
What's
hat.
wrong with his hat?
You look homeless. What does it say? Does it say Olympia on
Olympia
it?
Fields. Oh my God. This is a good golf hat. What's wrong with this?
I don't see the problem.
If you're watching on the live stream, help us Help us. This is like a bad movie, like we're stranded in the Arctic.
I'm just thinking, maybe it's you, Amy. When you ask somebody to ride with you, did you ever think it might be you?
Well, I should show you what I looked like when I was asking people for a ride.
Yeah.
I look like a ninja.
I don't want to ride
ninja.
with you. A Viking.
And nobody would know I did.
A Swedish ninja.
And I had goggles. I used to live in northern Minnesota, and people die in this weather.
Also,
I'm not kidding you.
the racially inappropriate impersonations probably don't make it any more welcoming. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Answer to his question. But it's so cold, no mail today. What else? No DMV, in case you wanted it.
We don't have a DMV in Illinois.
No mail today.
Just saying.
Wait. No mail. What happened?
No mail.
No mail today, and there probably won't be mail tomorrow. And then they already canceled. CPS canceled.
Okay, can we hold on to the post office here for a second? What is the post office's credo? Neither rain nor sleet nor dark of
Snow
night.
or dark of night. Yeah.
Oh, there's not. There's no mail in Minnesota, Iowa, Illinois, parts of Missouri,
Wisconsin,
and Wisconsin. Absolutely
Michigan.
no mail at all.
So I
today.
got that. Now I want an answer to my question. What happened to our intrepid postal service?
I would imagine that it's probably part of their union contract.
Yeah.
That's what I'm.
If anybody's listening, 312-642-5600.
However, they do spend their entire day outdoors. So
we're gonna do a.
Although nobody's preventing the farmers from milking their cows this morning.
I mean, honestly, this is all a bit hysterical to me.
It's not.
Yeah,
well, because,
totally hysterical.
But you didn't have to walk outside your car. I put vegetable oil on the door of my car so that I could get into it because sometimes it freezes. Very smart move. It worked.
What the hell are you talking about?
You put vegetable oil on the frame of your car.
Obviously. Everybody does that.
Well, those of us who park outside, Dan.
Really? I didn't see
Those of us who
anybody.
park outside.
Oh,
we
is
have
that
to
right?
get it
Everybody
sometimes.
does that. Everybody in your block does that.
Well, if they're smart, that's what it was a trick I picked up in Minnesota. They said put the oil, so I did that last night, and I started my car around 11 p.m. just to make sure it would work.
Sure. And how'd that work out this
It
morning?
did. I got in the car.
Yeah. You know what smart people do? They buy a car that works. That's the first thing they do.
Stop it.
Greg in Schaumburg, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Well, first of all, I would take a ride from Amy in the winter or in the summer, but I prefer the summer with Amy.
All right.
For those of you who cannot see Dan Proft and have always wondered that there were excessive brain cells that possibly we couldn't see,
I'm taking a picture.
I want to confirm to you that based on the hat, where he looks kind of like one of the Muppets, and
I'd say more like a cone head.
not Homer Simpson, the other guy, Bart Simpson. You know, that vertical V hat is just covering all of those brain cells.
That's exactly
Can
right.
I tell you?
That's precious cargo, Greg. Precious cargo.
So I'm playing my dad role right now, if I could, for your audience. I'm from Cincinnati, and when we had in 1977 the blizzard, I worked for the Cincinnati Post, and Lou Grant was on TV. I thought it would be kind of fun to go down to the newspaper. Maybe I would get on the editorial staff that day. And much to my chagrin, as I was going down one of the hills, I ran into something I didn't anticipate, and that was all the people that were stuck, that couldn't move. And, you know, you realize then how dangerous cold is. And there was a wrecker that came along and pulled me up this, Queen City Avenue. It was the best $50 I ever spent in my life.
Huh. That's different than the best $50 Jerry Springer ever spent in his life in Cincinnati, isn't it? Thanks for the call, Greg. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No.
I'll tell you, got to look
How
at.
cold was it in your parking garage this morning? What did you when you turned on your car? What, 40?
I mean, my car likes it like 60 is where my car enjoys it. So that's what we set the temperatures to. Now, you also have to look at the positive side, things to do today, right?
What?
So people have the day off, right? So take advantage of it. I'm thinking like Chicago architectural tour up the river.
Oh, the Sea Dog too?
There's no lines.
Oh, guess what? Navy Pier's closed too, and the museums, and some pizza joints are closed too.
You could do the race to Mackinac on foot today. That could be fun.
And everything's going to be closed tomorrow, and we have no school Friday, so we have a 5-day weekend. And there.
Mike in Union, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hi, Mike.
Mike?
It must be so cold. Mike's phone isn't working. Like
cold
your
is
radio isn't working. Mike?
Hear me now?
Oh, yeah. Okay, Mike. Go ahead.
All right, cool. Hey, word of caution, Dan. The last time I complained about my post office person, my mail started just getting jacked up. So, just be careful with that. And I'm sure you've seen the show Seinfeld where, that guy was a little batty.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah,
Hello,
yeah.
Jerry.
So-
Yes. Thanks for the call, Mike. Look. All right. One of my favorite sitcom characters of all time is Cliff Clavin.
Oh.
So there's a little hat tip to the Postal Service.
So cold. So very, very cold.
The stories you need to know to start your day. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and you'll have to wait until spring to get the outside of your house painted, but winter, perfect opportunity to get your interior painted. People walk into my kitchen and ask, Amy, did you get new cabinets? No, I save myself thousands of dollars by simply having them painted by the experts at CertaPro Painters. So cross the first project off your 2019 to-do list. CertaPro Painters will ensure a beautiful transformation of your home. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered. In-home with a color consultation or online with their color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
And now, a quick comparison from Grasshopper. When a client calls, what do you want them to hear? Your personal voicemail?
Hey, you've reached Greg's cell phone. I'm away right now, obviously. Leave a message and maybe I'll get back to you.
Or something a little more buttoned up, courtesy of Grasshopper.
Thanks for calling Green Landscaping. To make an appointment, dial 1. For billing, dial 2. To speak with Greg Smith, dial
There's
3.
no contest. Put your best voice forward with Grasshopper, the virtual phone system for small business. Try it free at grasshopper.com.
It's important to buckle up your kids.
I know.
Sometimes car seats can be complicated.
I know.
And if your child's in the wrong seat and you get into a crash,
I know.
it could lead to a serious injury.
I know.
So you're 100% sure you have the right car seat for your child's age and size?
I don't know.
Don't think you know. Know you know. Car crashes are a leading killer of children 1 to 13. Make sure you have the right car seat. Visit safercar.gov/the-right-seat. A message from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
It's a fact. Workman's compensation makes companies less productive and less profitable. It becomes more complicated with every amendment by the legislature. It's an increasing burden on employers. It's important that your company identify the risks and do everything possible to minimize your exposure. For more than 3 decades, the firm of Spiegel and Cahill, a food for the poor business benefactor of AM 560, has effectively represented businesses and insurance companies in Illinois and Indiana with workman's compensation defense. The attorneys understand and are sympathetic to the real burden your company faces. They excel at helping you minimize the payouts and pursue alternatives to litigation. You'll work with one attorney, and the Spiegel and Cahill team is committed to being responsive and managing costs. To learn more or request a no-obligation workman's comp consultation, call Spiegel and Cahill, the workman's comp defense professionals in Hinsdale at 630-455-4070, or visit defendingbusinesses.com. That number again, 630-455-4070, or online at defendingbusinesses.com.
Hi, Barry Sterner, founder of Townstone Financial. I want to answer some frequently asked home mortgage questions today. First, how much do I need for a down payment? There are 1% down payment programs currently running, as well as programs that will allow you to get the entire down payment as a gift. We also have programs where a family member can co-sign for the mortgage in order to help the borrower qualify. Do I need perfect credit to qualify for a loan? The answer is no. All these programs have restrictions, so please give me a call at 312-896-2110, and I'll be happy to go over them. Another question is, can I take cash out of my house to pay off high-interest credit card debt? The answer is yes, but you need to have enough equity in your house to make it happen. Why Townstone instead of the big banks? Because since 2002, we pride ourselves on beating the big banks on closing costs and interest rates every day. Remember, nobody values your home mortgage business more than Townstone. I guarantee it, and I own the company. So call 312-896-2110 or go to townstone.com. That's TOWNSTONE.com.
Townstone Financial is licensed in Indiana, Michigan, Wisconsin, and Florida. NMLS 136639. www.nmlsconsumeraccess.org. Equal housing lender.
AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. We're asking what you're doing to take advantage of the day off that so many people have gotten. One of our listeners. I had to take my dog out this morning. It's cold, but not too bad.
Oh, come on.
My daughter and husband are heading to work soon. I'm making them chocolate chip cookies to take to the office this morning. Yeah, that's another day for some people, but not, for us. But what about for you? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer
We've been warned to stay inside by our mayor.
If you don't need to be outside at this time, don't go outside.
Yeah, thank you. Cover your extremities, wear clothes, blah, blah, blah.
Hey.
It's the same thing, like that pro forma aspect of these things, like we have to hear from politicians. It's so annoying to me.
That's why I blogged it, because I knew you'd be so annoyed.
Here's another thing that's annoying. I was talking to Mike Scott about this off the air. The number of lives claimed by the weather, where it's broadly defined, like guy gets hit by snowplow, and that's a weather-related death.
It is. Because if it didn't snow, the snowplow wouldn't have been out there. I know a lot of car accidents, too, are weather-related, but they are.
That's absurd.
Well, also, you guys, you have to cover your eyes because your corneas could freeze. No, don't take it from me. Take it from Dylan Dwyer from NBC News.
I'm Dylan Dwyer in Minneapolis. We are in the middle of an 80-hour stretch of temperatures below zero with wind chills of minus 50. Every inch of your body needs to be covered, including your eyes, which is why I have these goggles. Your corneas can actually freeze if they're unprotected in the wind and cold for an extended period of time.
Yeah.
Hence the goggles that I wore to work and in the car the entire way.
The only people dumber and more prosaic than the politicians are those doing the on-site reporting. The people who think your corneas are going to freeze are the same people who think you use vegetable oil to make sure your doors can open when it gets cold out.
Oh my God. It worked. The engine didn't, but
But you were able to get into it.
I got in the car, but the car wouldn't start.
I think you're missing the forest for the trees on the transportation. Vince and Waukegan.
Hey, Dan. Hey, Amy.
Hey.
I'm just looking for a good protest to go to this morning. Maybe a protest against capitalism or protest against Trump. Maybe a protest to keep the CPS schools open, something of that nature.
All right. Thanks for the call, Vince. You may have a good protest to go to. Protest against anybody who wears a MAGA hat because of this curious story. I think it's a bit curious. This alleged attack on a guy named Jussie Smollett, who's an actor in Empire, the popular television series. It happened in Chicago. It happened in Streeterville, not far from my place.
Oh, I know. It was right by Channel 5. Well, we'll talk about that because I'll tell you what my copper friends told me.
It wasn't by Channel 5. It was.
Well, it's underneath where we'd go in.
No.
No, it's right by the Sheridan, right by on Water Street.
Excuse me. He was at the subway on McClure Court. Yeah.
Allegedly.
Well,
but then he got attacked on North Water and New Street, which is right by the Sheridan. It's underneath there. It's that
okay,
whole area.
we'll at 5:38 we'll figure out who has a better knowledge of Streeterville, me or Amy, and see how that turns out.
But now let's go into the newsroom. Here is Mike Scott.
Well, it is cold. 19 below zero. Wind chill minus 44. That's your official temperature, but varies widely across the area. We've seen wind chills dip to 52 or 53 below in spots this morning, and that deadly Arctic deep freeze arrived on schedule, enveloping the Midwest. Schools, offices, governments, postal service taking the rare steps of suspending mail delivery and stopping even Meals on Wheels to a wide swath of the region because of the cold.
This is the atypical. This is the unusual. This is where right now International Falls is negative 39 wind chill. Duluth is negative 35. Fargo negative 32. And this is just the beginning of it. We'll track this over the next 2 to 3 days.
One of our key meteorologists, Bill Cairns. Here in Chicago, the CTA turned buses into mobile warming shelters to encourage the homeless to come off the streets. Mayor Rahm Emanuel also says major Chicago attractions, including the Lincoln Park Zoo, Art Institute, Field Museum, are not opening today. In other news we're following this morning, the Trump administration is now requiring people to seek asylum to remain in Mexico until their cases come to court. The Senate panel is holding off on a vote on William Barr's nomination as Attorney General. It is a procedural delay, and Barr is expected to be confirmed. Closing arguments will begin this morning in the El Chapo drug trafficking trial in Brooklyn. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg testing out the campaign waters with a trip through New Hampshire. and blasting President Trump.
He failed at business, and now I think it's fair to say he is failing at government.
Bloomberg considering entering the 2020 race, so far not declaring a formal candidacy. Foxconn Technology is pulling back on plans for that $10 billion campus in Wisconsin. The Taiwanese electronics giant saying it will not be hiring nearly as fast as it had planned. Back to the cold here in the Chicago area. Chicago Public School students, the Archdiocese of Chicago Catholic school children, all 209 schools there will close today and Thursday. Hundreds of thousands of suburban and statewide school kids will stay home the next 2 days, and it applies to many colleges and universities in the area as well. Also locally, Chicago Alderman Danny Solis is resigning as chairman of the City Council's Zoning Committee. His resignation follows a Sun-Times report yesterday that detailed corruption allegations that led to Solis working with the FBI and secretly recording conversations. This morning in Los Angeles, that voice has passed on. Funeral arrangements pending for R&B legend James Ingram. Died yesterday from complications, brain cancer at the age of 66, too young. Two-time Grammy winner and an Oscar nominee as well. Chicago sports, Bulls in Brooklyn, doesn't matter. Nets won 122-117. College hoops last night, Northwestern lost to number 24 Maryland, 70-52. Our NIU Huskies beat Ohio 71-60, win number 100 for Coach Mark Montgomery. 5:33 is our time. We'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Mike Gallagher is concerned with the new Congress.
Socialist Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez announced that she will join Maxine Waters on the very influential House Financial Services Committee. A self-described socialist is going to be on the committee which oversees Wall Street. You know how President Trump is called a disruptor? Wait till you see how the Democrats try to disrupt.
The Mike Gallagher Show. Weekdays at 9, right before Dennis Prager at 11 on AM 560. The Answer.
Hi, it's Amy Jacobson with a great way to start a new year. Get the MyPillow 4-pack. You'll be so happy with 2 premium MyPillows and 2 Go Anywhere MyPillows, plus free shipping. All for the normal price of 1 premium MyPillow. You know, I've been telling you for years that they're the best pillows money can buy. The bottom line is you will sleep better and feel better. MyPillow is washable, dryable, and has a money-back offer if you're not happy. And here's more good news. You can still get 30% off everything else, including the MyPillow mattress topper and pet beds that you've heard me rave about. Just be sure to use the promo code Amy to get the MyPillow 4-pack offer with free shipping and the 30% discount on everything else, including mattress toppers and pet beds. Visit MyPillow.com or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201. And don't forget to use the promo code Amy. That's MyPillow.com, promo code Amy.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
One of the biggest fears for retirees and soon-to-be retirees, do I have enough? Do I have enough money to last for the rest of my life? I hear it every day when I meet with individuals, and it's for good reason. Check this statistic out. If you were born in 1800, you could expect to live until you were 39 years old. In 1900, 49. That number jumped to 68 in 1950, and today it's 79. How many people do you know that are in their 80s, in their 90s? Hi, this is Tom Fortino, host of the Alpha Wealth Hour, heard every Saturday at 9 a.m. here on AM 560. So how do you help ensure you never run out of money in retirement? The answers are in our special report, Maximizing Income in Retirement. In this powerful report, you'll discover successful tools and strategies on how to help turbocharge your income in retirement and how to position and protect your money regardless of what happens in the stock market. Call now to receive this report, Maximizing Income in Retirement, and will include 6 strategies to tax-free income. Call the Alpha Wealth Group, 630-519-4742 right now to receive your free report. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
It is 5:36. Let's get an update on the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
In Oak Lawn, the intersection of 91st and Central is blocked by downed power line. Hobart, it's a multi-vehicle crash with injuries. State Road 30 west of County Line Road. Problems on the rail. South Shoreline service is suspended entirely today. Officials expect to make a decision about tomorrow, sometime later today. No train service at the South Shoreline. Metra has modified schedules. We're seeing delays on 8094 westbound this morning. Calumet Avenue to the state line. There's a crash blocking the left lane. Northbound Tri-State, a ramp to westbound I-80. There's a crash partly blocking the ramp. Otherwise, expressway and tollway traffic is very light. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, sunny, breezy, colder. Extreme cold. Our high today, minus 13. Record-breaking temperatures overnight, low of minus 24. Clouds on the increase tomorrow, frigid, snow at night. Extreme cold, again, can be dangerous, with a high of minus 1. Currently, minus 20 at O'Hare, minus 18 along the lakefront. Your next news update is at 6. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
Roads closed, pipes frozen, albinos virtually invisible. The Weather Service has upgraded Springfield's blizzard from winter wonderland to a Class 3 kill storm.
The Simpsons. That's why they've lasted 30 years. Class 3 kill storm. Speaking of which, if you see any catsicles in the Lakeview neighborhood, please return them to Amy Jacobson for a proper burial.
No, one of the reasons why I parked outside, is because I'm trying to keep things closed up so that no wind gets in there, so the temperature doesn't drop anymore in my garage. My 2 cats are in there. I tried to catch them yesterday with my neighbor. They're not having any of it.
Why don't you just create little spaces outside where they can shelter in place, like little plastic bins, like ASPCA tells you to do?
Yeah, I have 2 plastic bins that they're insulated and there's straw on the bottom, but I have another plastic bin that has a
like a manger.
Pad. Yeah, like it. And they won't. I want to bring the bin inside with the cats in it, so I try to clog up the hole and then take the box out with the cats inside, and they were freaking out, and it was bad. It didn't end well, so I'm just hoping. And I've heated water bowl, and I've heat pads for them, but I'm just so scared they're not.
If only people would have listened to Bob Barker, we could have avoided all this ugliness. Have your pet spayed or neutered.
I did. Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well,
they're feral cats, and I'll let you know if they made it. And then we are gonna Who Wore It Better segment later. I'm gonna tweet out a picture of your hat and my hat.
Oh.
We'll see. I'm obviously going to win.
And I think is rather stylish.
Did you bring gloves to work today, by the way?
Yeah, I have mittens because
mittens with the string to the jacket.
And I wore my Spalding fat suit for additional insulation per orders from the governor. Good grief.
It's a state of emergency today.
All right, I want to take up this case. This is made national news yesterday. Jussie Smollett, he's a 36-year-old actor. He's one of the stars of the popular show Empire.
Which is filmed here in Chicago.
Yeah, right.
In case people don't know.
Right. He was allegedly attacked in Streeterville. A friend someone identifying himself as a friend of Smollett, who apparently lives in an apartment on the 300 block of East North Water Street, called 911 saying that a well-known person had been assaulted and battered after leaving this guy's apartment, and they wanted a report. Smollett told police he was attacked near his friend's high-rise, so this is 300 block of East North Water Street, while walking over to the subway on 521 North McClurg, which is on McClurg between Grand and Illinois in Streeterville, so a couple blocks. And the reason why this has become a national story is because the allegation is 2 white men, racial and homophobic epithets, and an utterance that this is MAGA country. So that this was somehow like Trump supporter inspired.
As soon as I heard the story, breaking, I was watching Windy City. I don't know why.
Windy City?
Windy City Live with
the 2 girls, Ryan
and Val.
Yeah.
And I smelled a rat. I mean, they were saying that he couldn't identify his attackers. My copper friend said that he told them to turn off their body cameras before taking his hate crime report.
Now, to be fair, crime victims sometimes do ask police to turn off the cameras when officers enter private residences, according to a police spokesman. But, yeah, that's part of the
And
discussion.
then also, Channel 9 was saying it was 2 white guys that did it. Channel 5 just said it's 2 suspects. They didn't give a race. And Channel 7 said 2 white guys.
Yeah, and that was manufactured reporting. According to police, contrary to widespread reports that the alleged attackers were white, Smollett has not identified the attackers by race because the men were masked and wore gloves.
Well, clearly they were targeting him. This wasn't some random crime. It could be a scorned lover. We don't know. But the part that he had a rope around his neck.
So the noose was placed over the friend's neck.
That was the 911 call saying the noose was placed around his neck.
Well, but I'm going to stick with alleged attack here for a minute. Because first, let's tackle the MAGA piece, right?
I didn't hear the MAGA piece until just now, actually.
So Smollett, the reporting was that the attackers said, this is MAGA country. And had MAGA hats.
Trump-free zone.
And there were reports, and there were reports that they wore MAGA hats. During his first conversation with police, Smollett did not say the attackers made MAGA comments, according to a police spokesman. The detail was published by TMZ, and Smollett mentioned it during a follow-up interview with police later in the day, according to police.
Here's another point of contention for me. There are surveillance cameras all over that area where the alleged attack happened, and nothing yet.
They got nothing.
No, and I texted my friend last night, like, where's the picture of the suspects that this happening? And also, too, the creator of Empire tweeted out a picture of him, Smollett, in the hospital because he walked himself to Northwestern Memorial.
After refusing first responder assistance on site.
Yeah. Well, see, now you're saying that, and my friend told me that he went to the hospital, and that's where, then after that, he talked to police. That they weren't on site with him. This is a hot mess.
Well, let's go with what police have to say. The actual
so police are saying.
Yes. Police denied, they're denying everything that's being reported, that the race was identified. It wasn't. The misreporting, or certainly the lack of texture reporting, that at first Smollett said nothing about MAGA. He only mentioned that in a follow-up interview. The police denied an ABC report that the FBI had taken over the case. Smollett was said to be reticent to file a police report even after police arrived. He refused medical treatment on site. EMS services were declined by the friend. Smollett later took himself to Northwestern Memorial. The video, this is Anthony Guglielmi, Chicago police spokesman, tweeting 7 hours ago. Detectives expanded the search area for cameras to be able to provide photos of the alleged assailants in the attack. Thus far, no video of the alleged assailants or a vehicle has been discovered, but we are continuing to broaden the search.
And it happened.
And one other thing, the noose.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Smollett was still wearing the alleged noose around his neck when police arrived at his friend's apartment nearly 45 minutes after the attack. Why?
And on social media, you can track his actions or what he did. He was delayed in New York, taking a flight from here to Chicago. What was supposed to be a 2-hour flight ended up being almost 5 hours. Then said goodnight, everybody, and that was at 11 p.m. And then this attack happened at 2 a.m. When it's freezing out, I don't know if you guys know this, but gangbangers and bad guys don't really like the cold.
Well,
crime
is committed.
Sub-zero.
But crime is committed in the cold. But
there would be somebody running away, or 2 guys walking together, or maybe 1 guy walking away from that area at that time of the alleged attack, and the police have nothing.
A source, this is CWB Chicago reporting, a source familiar with the investigation told CWB Chicago that the rope was, quote, thin clothesline straight out of the package. The Sun-Times reported that the rope, quote, didn't necessarily resemble a noose, unquote, as has been widely reported. So just about everything that was widely reported at the outset that could be incendiary and could politicize this has been rejected by subsequent reports and Chicago police. So just so we get our heads around ourselves a little bit before we help to foment the hysteria out there about some racist, homophobic, Trump-inspired attack, there's not a lot of evidence to support any of that at this juncture.
Right, but this is a huge black eye, again, for Chicago. And the creator of Empire, Lee Daniels, tweeted out again a picture of Smollett and then took it down within minutes, but did talk.
You didn't deserve, nor anybody deserves, to have a noose put around your neck, to have bleach thrown on you. We have to love each other, regardless of what sexual orientation we are.
That's right.
Yeah,
they said
well,
also,
thank
too,
you.
he
Of
was,
course. So what?
He was doused with, at first they said a liquid, and then they came forward and said it was bleach.
Yeah.
That they threw on him. But he doesn't have any bleach burns.
That man is doing nothing but minding his own business. And you feel it's necessary to go after him like that.
Nobody
Why?
defends the allegation. If the allegation were true, there's
horrible.
nobody rallying to the defense of attacking anybody for any reason. This is such a stupid conversation and such awful reporting. Awful, awful reporting. From the sentimental sophistry of, like, there's anybody making the case that it's okay to attack this guy. That's idiotic. To the unprofessionalism of not getting your facts right. How are you, as a media outlet, charged with recording the facts as we know them at the moment, completely at odds with the Chicago police story and the lack of evidence to support the claims being made to this point? It's remarkable.
But the fact that the attackers said that they made MAGA comments, I mean...
No, that Smollett said that in a subsequent interview, not his first conversation with police.
And he was really reluctant. He did not want to file a police report.
Right. I mean, look, Chicago's a violent place. There are ignorant people out there that attack people because they don't like their race or their orientation or their religion or whatever. But, I mean... as we say in so many of these cases, particularly with the politicized ideological bent of the Chicago Press Corps, which is just an outpost of the D.C. Press Corps, healthy skepticism always. Ask questions. It's real simple. According to who, what evidence do you have? Those two questions that my friends, the Edgar County Watchdogs, these sort of independent investigators, a couple of retired guys investigating corruption at every level of government in Illinois and doing a great job. That's their whole philosophy. Two simple questions when you hear from a public official or you hear from a reporter. Who says, what evidence do you have?
That's why when things like this happen, I wish I was still on the street reporting, because I used to ask those questions. Like, where's the evidence? Where's the surveillance camera? Where? And those are questions that I was asking my source yesterday, but no reporters were asking that. They just went like, oh, this is so awful. It's a hate crime and blah, blah, blah. But it reminds me of the doctor that was visiting from Iowa, Dan, and he said he got stabbed while running along the Riverwalk there. And it was so shady, and there was no surveillance video. You know why? Because he stabbed himself, and he made up the story. And then he was charged with filing a false police report. I'm
not saying this is a hoax. I'm just trying to apply some healthy skepticism. And it's hard to get your mind around the idea that people would make up hate crimes. But how many times have we seen it on college campuses?
Oh.
With, yep. the racial epithet, the swastika, and it turns out to be somebody that wanted attention for themselves or somebody that was trying to do, the double bank shot to advance their political agenda. I don't know. Jim in Crown Point, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Hey, guys, it's so cold out here. I saw a dog chasing a cat, and they were both walking.
Oh. Okay.
All right, so what do you think of this?
Jim. This rings much like back in the day when a husband would kill his wife and say, oh, a big black man came in and killed her. Well, the minute you make a suspect, now you have to prove your point. So this is the same thing. This guy now, they have to prove all this stuff that they are saying. Our news media is very selective. I was walking down the street in the summertime one time with a black friend of mine. We're walking, and there's a group of about 10 black males on the same side of the street. And my buddy said, who is black? Said, let's get over on the other side of the street. You know, he was thinking the same thing I was thinking, only he was able to verbalize it.
Yeah, the Jesse Jackson moment. Thanks for the call, Jim.
You know, I got a text message from someone in the media saying if we went on and said that this was a possible hoax, what would happen to that reporter?
Well, you don't have.
I mean, they did say alleged attack.
You don't have.
There was a police report filed.
You don't have to allege it's a possible hoax. You just have to ask the questions.
Yeah.
And say, and also, if you're a good reporter to distinguish yourself from most of your colleagues, you point out the misreporting that was done. Initially, reports said this. It turns out police are saying
now that it's this.
Yeah. Right. So on all of these important elements of the allegation that made this a national story, that made this a political story. So you don't have to allege anything. Don't be in the business of alleging. Be in the business of fact reporting and asking the pertinent questions.
Ooh.
Paul in New Lenox.
Hi, guys. I was just two questions. The first one is, or statements. Did anybody check the ratings of Empire? Because this could be a whole, let's get the ratings up a little bit by using this kind of propaganda. And the second thing I want to comment about is I just passed Dennis Quaid on the side of the road. I don't know how cold it is out there, but is that any indication?
That Dennis Quaid is on the side of the road? Thanks for the couple. I'm not getting it. I don't get the Dennis Quaid.
I don't either.
Did I miss some important Dennis Quaid post-apocalyptic? Oh wait, he was in the that like silly climate change movie in New York, where New York like flooded and froze over.
Oh,
Day After Tomorrow.
Day After Tomorrow.
All right, that was a deep dig, Paul in New Lenox, but I figured it out. All right, we'll give you credit for that one. It's pretty good. Terrible movie, but good reference. Edward in Midway.
Yeah, good morning, Dan and Amy. I speculate, and this was a conversation at the office yesterday, quick to blame Trump fans. And I suspect that between now and the election, there's going to be organized fake attacks, kind of so they can get in the media and, oh, look at these Trump fans, these racist people.
Yeah. Thanks for the call, Edward. I mean, right. A smirk is a hate crime if it's somebody who's a Trump supporter.
So outlandish. I mean, I just.
Well, I mean, here.
I mean, that they pour bleach on them, shout, homophobic slurs, talk about MAGA, you're a MAGA country. It's too outlandish. I just not believable.
It's possible. That's possible. I don't know. But I do know this. I say it routinely. What a society extols, it begets. And what do we extol in America today? Being a victim.
You've made the switch, and it feels so good. You've switched to Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
Famous conservative quotes presented by Automated Systems.
Thomas Sowell said, "A consequence of entitlements is people who contribute nothing to society feel they're owed something for being nice and gracing us with their presence."
Manufacturing companies, I encourage you to call my friend Laz Kulchar from Automated Systems. Automated Systems is a software and systems integration company that specializes in companies that are required to meet FDA compliance requirements. Automated Systems will create a custom solution for your business that will make your production lines, facilities, and plants run more efficiently. Imagine less downtime, more speed, and fewer rejects. From Fortune 500 to startup, ASI delivers solutions for your toughest automation challenges. For information, I encourage you to talk to Laz at Automated Systems. Call 844-HIRE-ASI or visit hireasi.com. That's 844-HIRE-ASI, 844-HIRE-ASI, or online at hireasi.com.
All right, I got a great night's sleep last night. Didn't want to get out of bed, well, probably because it's freezing out. But I got a great sleep, all thanks to MyPillow. And right now, we still have that 4-pack deal where you buy one pillow, you get another one free, plus 2 go anywhere MyPillows, plus free shipping. Hello. What's not to love? And if you don't like the pillow, you can send it back and get your money back. And right now, there's still more good news. You can still get 30% off everything else. The mattress toppers, the pet beds, which are spectacular. Hayek could use one of those. Hi, Hayek. You do the pretty. Then there's also sheets and pillowcases. It's really just a great company. American company. Go to MyPillow.com, type Amy in the promo code for 30% off everything. Or call 800-489-0201. That's 800-489-0201.
It may not be stomach issues. For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms, but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
Dan Proft here.
And I'm Amy Jacobson, and we wanted to take a minute to say thanks. Thank you to each and every one of you who participated in our annual Food for the Poor campaign.
Because of you, we were able to raise more than $175,000 to provide food for a year and clean water for life for more than 2,200 children and their families in Haiti.
And we're especially grateful to the many business benefactors who supported this campaign. When you hear their ads on this station, we'd ask that you support their business as a way of thanking them for their generosity. And just because the Christmas season is over
and we're starting a new year, that doesn't mean the need goes away. You can still make a $50 donation to Food for the Poor.
Just call 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673.
Or visit 560theanswer.com/food. That's 560theanswer.com/food. And thanks again for your generosity.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and you'll have to wait until spring to get the outside of your house painted, but winter, perfect opportunity to get your interior painted. You know, people walk into my kitchen and ask, Amy, did you get new cabinets? No, I save myself thousands of dollars by simply having them painted by the experts at CertaPro Painters. So cross the first project off your 2019 to-do list. CertaPro Painters will ensure a beautiful transformation of your home. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered. In-home with a color consultation or online with their color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
It's news, opinion, insight. It's AM 560, The Answer. WIND, Chicago.
It's colder in North Dakota than it is at the North Pole. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Minus 35 in Grand Forks. Feels like 58 below.
I feel sorry for anybody who has to stay outside.
He's in a shelter in Minnesota. Cody Matz is with Fox 9 in Minneapolis, where it's the coldest morning since the late 1970s.
Folks here know the drill. We know that we shouldn't spend more than a few minutes outside.
The skin can freeze within minutes.
For the USPS to not actually deliver mail, they have canceled mail service in the state of Minnesota, much of Wisconsin, all of Iowa, and western Illinois as this cold snap rolls southward. More than 60 million people in the upper Midwest and Great Lakes are affected with sub-zero temperatures.
Many cities trying to get the homeless inside. In Chicago, Amtrak canceled all trains. 1,300 flights to and from that city are grounded. 1,700 cancellations in all across the U.S. An attempt to avoid another partial government shutdown in 2 weeks starts today. Bipartisan negotiations, and President Trump just tweeted if they aren't talking about a wall, they're wasting their time. Fox's Rachel Sutherland live in Washington.
Dave, a conference committee meets this afternoon in hopes of coming up with border security legislation that President Trump will sign. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell says he's for whatever works.
Which means avoiding a shutdown and avoiding the president feeling he should declare a national emergency.
Senate Democratic Leader Chuck Schumer wants the president to stay out of the negotiations.
So I'd ask President Trump, let Congress deal with it on its own.
The White House has been asking for $5.7 billion in border money. Congress needs to reach a deal by February 15th to avoid another shutdown. Dave.
Rachel, Venezuela's opposition leader Juan Guaido, recognized by the U.S. after declaring himself president, told Fox Business.
The last chapter of a nightmare for many citizens that were forced to migrate, that were forced to leave their country.
Disputed President Nicolas Maduro is vowing to remain in power. President Trump tweeted, Americans should not travel to Venezuela until further notice. This is Fox News.
In Chicago, minus 19, a wind chill of minus 43 at the moment. We've seen wind chills dip to minus 52 across the area. 6:02 on AM 560. The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. Deadly Arctic deep freeze enveloped the Midwest as expected, forcing the widespread closure of schools and offices.
This is the atypical. This is the unusual. This is where right now International Falls is negative 39 wind chill. Duluth is negative 35. Fargo negative 32. And this is just the beginning of it. We'll track this over the next 2 to 3 days.
And that cold drifted south right to Chicago, according to meteorologist Bill Cairns. That cold prompting the U.S. Postal Service to take the rare step of suspending mail delivery to a wide swath of the Midwest.
3 sweatshirts under here and 2 T-shirts, and then I'm wearing 3 pair of thermals. So, you got to be prepared when you get out here.
Mario Evans delivering the mail yesterday in Chicago. CTA turned buses into mobile warming shelters overnight, where the forecast called for temps hitting that minus 21 with the bitter wind chills. Mayor Rahm Emanuel.
The temperatures today are not, and rather today, tomorrow, and Thursday are not to be taken lightly. These are actually a public health risk.
Major Chicago attractions, Lincoln Park Zoo, Field Museum not opening today. Extreme weather prompting Amtrak to cancel all trains into and out of Chicago. Short and long distance and short distance trains will be canceled on Thursday. By the way, Chicagoans will never be far from a free Wi-Fi hotspot today as the extreme cold weather moves into the region. Comcast is opening up its Chicago area Xfinity Wi-Fi network through Thursday, offering broad coverage across the city and suburbs during the deep freeze. The offer will allow mobile phone users to instantly access hotspots, no login credentials required. A couple of other stories we're following this morning. Chicago Alderman Danny Solis resigning as chairman of the Chicago City Council Zoning Committee in the wake of the explosive Sun-Times story that detailed allegations of corruption. Authorities continue investigating a deadly house fire this week in southwest suburban Hometown. Chicago sports found the Nets over the Bulls, 122-117. Fighting Illini will play in Minnesota tonight against the Golden Gophers. That game is still on. Other college basketball, Northwestern lost to number 24 Maryland, and NIU beat Ohio 71-60 for win number 100 for Coach Mark Montgomery. The news, a service of La Quinta Inns and Suites. If you're traveling for work, make your next stop La Quinta by Wyndham. Their spacious rooms and free high-speed internet makes it easy to work, while their comfortable beds and bright-side breakfast make it easy to relax. Win at business wherever you go. Book at LQ.com. 6:05, check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Sean Hannity explains why Pelosi won't sit down with the president.
The transformation of the Democratic Party into the radical socialist Democratic Party. It is the base. You want to know why Nancy Pelosi cannot sit down with Donald Trump? Because her base is going to take her speakership away.
The Sean Hannity Show. Afternoons at 2, right before Joe Walsh at 5 on AM 560. The Answer.
Some job recruitment sites overload your inbox with resumes. Glassdoor knows not just any will do. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. In fact, Glassdoor hires are 30% more likely to stay with your company longer. And Glassdoor can help you find that perfect candidate in half the resumes. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
When it comes to your identity and devices, there's no soundtrack to let you know you might be in danger. That's why you need LifeLock with Norton Security to look out for the silent threats of today's digital universe. No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But LifeLock detects threats to your identity, and Norton protects against online threats. Join now at lifelock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off your first year.
Let me ask you something. What would an extra income stream mean to you every month? How would that change things for you? More vacation time? Could you secure your retirement, spend more time with your family? Well, Online Trading Academy is a leader in training and investment education. Learn about how money is really made in the financial markets and how investing in them could be your pathway to achieving financial freedom. They will help you learn skills designed to be mastered and applied to generate monthly cash flow. At Online Trading Academy, thousands of people just like you have discovered an education path designed to allow them to reinvent themselves and take control of their finances. I'm so impressed with Online Trading Academy that I signed up for my own free class, and you can too. Just call 888-984-TRADE. That's 888-984-TRADE. Get 2 free passes to their next class so you can check this all out. This is a limited opportunity and seats go quickly, so call 888-984-TRADE or visit them online at tradingacademy.com.
Peloton is a game-changing indoor cycling bike that brings the energy of live studio classes right to your home anytime you want. Learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com or visit your local showroom.
6:07. Check of the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Nearly 1,000 flights have been canceled at O'Hare today, more than 320 at Midway. There's a delay on Metra's electric line due to overhead wire problems. South Shore trains are not running at all today. Wire issues. Seeing delays right now on the CTA Blue Line. Signal issues near Jefferson Park. Chicago expressways are fairly light except the inbound Eisenhower. It's jammed central to Cicero, where a collision has 2 left lanes blocked. 35 minutes, 390 to downtown. Outbound fine at 29. Northbound Tri-State on the ramp to westbound I-80 crash, blocking 2 left lanes. Indiana Toll Road. It's shut down right now from 31 in South Bend to State Road 39, LaPorte area. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte. On AM 560, The Answer.
And Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center. And our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
A wind chill warning is in effect through Thursday. Sunny, breezy, and cold today. High -13. Clear and very cold tonight. Low -24. And then not as cold tomorrow. Increasing cloudiness. Snow by nightfall. The high tomorrow at -3. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
-22 officially at O'Hare. -19 along the lakefront. -23 in Aurora. And everywhere we look across northern Illinois, southwest Wisconsin, northwest Indiana, wind chills -45 to -52. Your next news update is at 6:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Early voting has started in the Chicago mayor's race. Have you heard?
How many people are going to be out voting today, Dan?
Yeah, today's a great day to get out and vote. You've got all day. Most of you are off. The kids are home from school. Take your kids and have a civic experience with your kids, Amy. Take them to go vote for, your socialist of choice.
Yeah, right. You mean for Paul Vallis, who's not a socialist? Yes.
312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line, taking stock of the race with early voting starting. Less than a month away is the primary election to winnow the field to 2. Where do you stand, if anywhere? Take your calls on that.
And also how you're surviving the cold.
I don't completely unrelated topic.
I mean, are the polling booths even open? I mean, are the polling places even open today?
The polling places are inside.
No, I know, because
our government office is open.
We're not getting mail. I don't know.
Yeah.
In one Missouri town, they've asked criminals. It's so cold that they've asked criminals not to commit crimes today. Warrensburg, Missouri. Bone-chilling temperatures. So they said, we're asking a favor for at least 3 days. Can you keep the criminaling to a minimum? I don't even know that that's a word. It's really cold out, so do yourself and us a favor and please stay inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's good stuff. It's a great public service announcement. It's right up there with Tiny Dancers. Put, gloves and boots on. Now, getting back to the actual future of the city, since this is sort of a one-day occurrence. Bill Daley, he's one of the front runners, I guess, now. If I was handicapping the race right now,
really,
I'd say it's Daley, Preckwinkle, Mendoza, Chico, and then
Vallis?
Then like Vallis, McCarthy, Willie Wilson. And the interesting thing about that is there's still a real potential for surprise because I've just named 7 candidates that are basically within the margin of error of one another. You're basically talking about like from 8 to 15% of the vote right now. So barring something wildly unforeseen, you're going to have a runoff election. This looks like it's going to be tight to the very end. The only caution I would offer is money can separate. And it seems to me that Daley and Preckwinkle, Daley through the C-suite rent seekers and Preckwinkle through the public sector unions, most particularly SEIU, will have the money to barrage the airwaves as people start to tune in the closing days and weeks of the campaign. Whereas I'm not so sure that's the case. Chico a little bit, maybe Mendoza a little bit, although I think it's drying up for her. And the others, it's really sort of hand to mouth to get anything going in terms of retail marketing other than social media, maybe some radio. But in terms of pounding the television airwaves, network affiliate television, it looks like it's mainly Daley and Preckwinkle with a little bit of Chico and a little bit of Mendoza. And isn't it interesting that those are the Burke 4? And it isn't it interesting that those are sort of the 4 candidates in the top tier right now.
And Daley's campaign ads are such bull jive. Day one, I'm going to have a plan to stop guns and stop gangs. I'm going to get it done. And shows a picture with Barack Obama, to try and get the African-American vote. It's just so tiresome because he's just an extension of Rahm Emanuel. He's a third term of Rahm Emanuel is what he is.
Bill Daley talking with Mike Flannery over the weekend on his Fox News Chicago Sunday program offered this. He's an agent of system change.
Oh, okay.
You can't, nor I or anyone else, make somebody honest. But you can change a system that has existed for almost 100 years that maybe leads the climate. We should have term limits. We should have no outside income. We should have the aldermen not mini mayors of their wards. We should make them more like legislators.
Don't you need the aldermen, though, to agree to take their own power away?
The last 100 years, 40 of which were governed by your father and your brother.
Yeah, you're right. Uh-huh.
It's just a point of order.
Right.
He was asked about that, though, about the Daley family legacy, and here's what he had to say.
Look, I don't think any of us think about a legacy. We think of the job we try to do, the life we try to live as an individual, and not try to figure out some grand legacy. It's not about that. It's about trying to get up every day like every other family does in Chicago and do right by people and do your job, whatever it may be, in a right way.
Okay, so
not worry about a legacy.
Yeah, he's not worried about legacy. He's not doing this for legacy. He's not worried about legacy. He's doing this because at 70 years old, he has been reborn as an agent of system change. Okay. I don't know.
System change.
Although not
keep the same staff, Emanuel's staff,
Well,
HR director, everybody's the same. They've been promised that we're going to support Daley, and then you guys can all keep your jobs.
Well, there has been some tension between Tiny Dancer and the Daleys over the years because Tiny Dancer, he didn't go so far as to blame Daley for all of the problems that he left unsolved or even unaddressed, much less solved. But there was some, look what I inherited type of stuff that I think the Daleys bristled at. But the bottom line is Bill Daley is saying he's an agent of change. And then on some of the big issues, as you just alluded to, like violence.
Has he got a plan? Is he going to get it done?
Tell me if this sounds at all familiar to you.
Right now, it's a misdemeanor in Illinois to be in possession of a gun. What's the message there? It's not that big of a deal. Okay?
New York's a lot tougher.
A lot tougher.
Talk to Kim
okay?
Fox.
And they have a lot fewer shootings and a lot less murders. We have to get background checks. Springfield can pass that. We should pass an assault ban weapon in Springfield. We can do that. Tougher gun laws. 1 out of 10 guns used in Chicago comes from one gun shop in Chicago Ridge in our suburbs. Okay? So maybe we could look at them, look at what's going on. It's hard to look at Indiana because Indiana has very lax gun laws, and that's a national issue. But I think we ought to take a serious look at how to use technologies better. If it's up to me, if I was able to, I'd have a camera on every block in the city of Chicago, no matter what the crime level is, in order to give people comfort.
Oh, please.
Well, a camera on every block in the city of Chicago could help us know if Jussie Smollett actually got attacked. But here's the thing.
Too soon.
About that.
You went there.
Oh, 2 things. The gun thing, I'll get to in a second. What about the camera on every block? Do you want this to be a Big Brother web?
Europe? No. London? No.
CCTV everywhere? Every move?
No, I like having some freedoms.
On the issue of guns, Department of Justice issued a report recently. That's worth noting. This is nationally, of course, but to suggest that Chicago is much different than the national norms, I would suspect it's not. One standard deviation maybe. Among prisoners serving time for a crime during which they possessed a gun, about half got their weapons either the black market, underground market, 43%, or through theft, 6%. 10% bought their guns from a retail source. 0.8%. All of the talk and obsession about gun shows, the gun show loophole, which doesn't exist. 0.8% of prisoners serving time for a crime in which they possessed a gun bought their guns at gun shows. 0.8%. Another 11% of the time, someone else bought the gun for them, either as a gift or straw purchase. 15% got their guns from family and friends, buying, renting, trading, borrowing. And 12% of the time, the guns were either brought to the crime by someone else or found at the scene. So it's just worth putting some data into the warmed-over anti-gun rhetoric of a Bill Daley at the local level or a Kamala Harris at the national level. We'll get to her and the progressive candidates for president later.
Free health care for everybody.
Mike on the north side.
Good morning. Sometimes these conversations just write themselves. Did Bill Daley actually say you get up in the morning and you try to do good?
Yeah.
What was he trying to do when his son, working for Goldman Sachs, made money off the parking meters? When his nephew Patrick
trying to do good
made money off the Wi-Fi at the airport?
Trying to do
when
good for
his nephew. Yeah. And what about when one of his the Necco nephews embezzled $65 million from the pension funds? What was he doing that day? And when the other Vaneco killed a kid, and everybody in the family knew it, and they covered it up for 10 years, what was he doing that day? The whole reason why that thing with the guy downtown got blown out of proportion was because that SEIU's candidate, Toni Preckwinkle, got knocked down, and she was behind Daley in the polls now. Let me tell you who did that crime. Let's see. They were wearing MAGA hats. They were listening to WIND, Joe Walsh. They just came and got their testosterone checked. They were probably both white, both cops. They both had a, code of silence. They were going home to lie down under my pillows. And one was carrying a Confederate flag, and the other had a locker up T-shirt on. What a boogeyman to come up with right before the election.
Thanks for the call, Mike.
Yeah,
the other interesting dynamic this week, the attack on Susana Mendoza.
Yeah.
Toni Preckwinkle through...
Were the ladies fighting again?
Toni Preckwinkle through her allies taking Susana Mendoza to task for her support for the death penalty. It was interesting. You had Karen Yarborough and other Preckwinkle supporters re-litigating statements Susana Mendoza made as a state legislator about the death penalty as well as about gangbangers. Listen, and by the way, they also brought to the press conference Edgar Fields, who was a death row inmate who was exonerated before the moratorium was imposed, and ultimately the death penalty in Illinois was repealed. But Susana Mendoza as a state legislator on the death penalty.
Many of you may recall that I was one of the last members in this chamber to pass an expansion of the death penalty. In fact, there was no issue that I was more passionate about than that one issue. Throughout my entire life, I've been a staunch supporter of the death penalty and a firm believer in the justice it serves and the punishment it represents for the worst of the worst in our society. I still believe that to be true. I want to leave no doubt that I feel no compassion or see any value whatsoever in the lives of the truly guilty on death row. I could administer the death penalty myself to a cop killer or a serial murderer and sleep like a baby at night if I knew without a doubt of their guilt. As a matter of fact, I believe that our current manner of executing the guilty in Illinois is much too compassionate and shows respect for life where the killer had none. I believe that a sanitized death is too kind and that the guilty should die in a manner much harsher, truer to the crimes that they committed. I know that this may sound cruel to some of you, but it pales in comparison to the cruelty inflicted upon so many innocent victims by these murderous animals. But this debate for me is no longer about whether or not guilty killers deserve to die for their crimes. They do deserve to die. They do.
Oh,
I love her.
What about Hang 'em High Mendoza? Not only is she a enthusiastic supporter of the death penalty,
She wants it to be very painful.
she wants it to be medieval. It sounds like she wants it to be eye for an eye, Old Testament style, like
Killed the way that you killed.
sorta. That's what it sounded like. Yeah,
Let's rip their fingernails off one at a time, huh? Maybe a toenail too.
sure.
I'm all. I love the death penalty.
You're all for torture.
I'm not torture, but I am.
You just said rip the fingernails
I
off.
did.
That's torture.
Oh, is that torture? Oh, I didn't know.
I mean,
I mean,
in some eyes.
that makes me respect her a little bit more. That she feels the same way that I do about the death penalty.
Well-
I've seen way too many homicide victims, so that's why I've formed my opinion because of that.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting that she's getting attacked for that. It tells you something about the Chicago electorate, where they are on the death penalty, where they are on that kind of rhetoric.
Is Mayor of Chicago there? Are they going to have any say in the death penalty, though?
Does the mayor of Chicago have influence on public policy? Yes. Okay. Edgar Fields was on site of this press conference I mentioned with Preckwinkle supporters to respond to what Mendoza had to say. And by the way, it's worth noting, Mendoza didn't walk back her support of the death penalty, but she did try to recast it because that kind of rhetoric and that position doesn't play well
in Chicago.
In Chicago, and particularly in minority communities, some of which he needs a significant percentage, particularly the Latino community. So it's interesting to note Mendoza wasn't doubling down. She was sort of trying to recast it and take the edges off her rather sharp rhetoric on the House floor. But here's Edgar Fields on Mendoza.
Myself, I'm 65 years old now. Pretty much a grandfather. But I used to be in the game a long time ago. And I saw that prejudice in what can happen, even if you're innocent. And I was. And it led to me be charged with this crime. It led to everything that happened to me. And to hear Ms. Mendoza use those comments as if a gang member is fair game, they're a coyote. Hey, the human factor should never be left out in these type of decisions, because at the time that Ms. Mendoza made these comments, 2010, it was 20 death row exonerees already, where it was proven that these men were sent to death row for something they didn't do. But yet, the anger was still there. It was still there despite it was clear facts that the Illinois death penalty system was broken. I'm living proof of it, along with 21 other men.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I find Edgar Fields more persuasive than Susana Mendoza, and I, as did you, lived through how wildly error-ridden was the justice system in this state, that you were, for a time, running at about a 50-50 clip in terms of men on death row who were innocent,
I know,
versus men who were guilty. And I'll tell you what, before you cheerlead Susana Mendoza for the death penalty, think about who, particularly in this city and this state are in charge or would be in charge of administering it. Remember what I say. When we talk about federal prosecutors, it's easy to talk about Bob Mueller and say not beyond reproach, should be looked at with a jaundiced eye. What about the local level, too, and the state level? You want the power of life and death in the hands of the political ruling class in Chicago and Illinois? I don't. One of the reasons, just one, but it's an important reason why I'm actually an opponent of the death penalty. So I don't share Susana Mendoza's enthusiasm, and I find her, hang 'em high rhetoric a little bit of a put on. Her little squeaky voice, she's trying to sound like, she's a tough cookie, exactly.
She's playing with the big boys now.
Yeah, I'm not buying it, but I am buying the reality on the ground that Edgar Fields described from not that long ago. Tom in Deer Park.
Hey, hi, good morning. My call was in relationship to the clip you played on Bill Daley. He's got the exact same babbling cadence that his brother has, and he's just as dangerous. His comment about having a camera on every corner, he's not kidding around when he thinks that. And currently down in Springfield, there's 2 bills out there. One is to ban magazines over 10 rounds, and another is to look at people's social media before you get a FOID card.
Yeah.
So this crew, these leftists, these totalitarians, they're not kidding around. They are seriously after our civil liberties.
Thanks for the call, Tom. Good points, both. And the other thing about the cameras, though, that's nice for Bill Daley, a la the parking meters, he can have the city, taxpayers pay for them, and then he can sell them, do another deal that benefits one of his relatives for 20 cents on the dollar like he did the parking meters. It really sets up nicely to continue the daily tradition.
Connect with Dan and Amy using the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
The quivers, the shivers, goosebumps. That's what our customers say before 1 hour heating and air conditioning repairs their furnace. Call us. We'll fix it right, stand by our work, and give you our straightforward pricing, which means no hourly charges. How's that for goosebumps? Right now, get big savings on any heating repair. Call 855-1-HOUR.
Your comfort is just a call away. Call 1 hour.
Terms and conditions may apply. Call for details. Independently owned and operated. Licensed in the respective state or county.
Even in my own home, I had my own designated space to smoke. If I think about it, it really was like I was punishing myself. A friend of mine said, why wouldn't you just try the Juul? And so I went out and I bought one. The idea of going back to smoking, I couldn't even imagine doing that. I don't think anyone, including myself, thought that I could switch.
Carolyn made the switch October 2016. Make the switch at JUUL.com. Warning, this product contains nicotine. Nicotine is an addictive chemical.
With so many homeowners fearful of poor service and not knowing who to trust, home remodeling is often delayed. But do you ever wonder why so many remodeling experiences go so wrong? Advanced Design Studio thinks remodeling shouldn't be so painful. Will the project stay on budget and be done on time? If you're nervous about home remodeling, you're not alone. Whether you're contemplating a new kitchen or bath, want an addition to your home, or in need of a whole house transformation, Advanced Design Studio is the company to call. They understand your fears and know how to overcome them. Backed by 27 years of providing positive remodeling experiences, Advanced Design's client service process, called Common Sense Remodeling, puts you first, averting delays and budget overruns to produce a rewarding remodeling experience. Make 2019 the year you overcome your fears and remodel your home, bath, or kitchen. Don't be a bad remodeling story. Use common sense and visit AdvancedDesignStudio.com for more information or call 847-836-2600.
If you have pain, I hope you listen up. Hi, it's Mike Gallagher. You don't need to live in pain. Let me repeat that. You do not have to live in pain. Chronic pain is the worst, whether it's from an accident or pain that just develops. Chicagoland, you're in luck. Dr. Ken Candido is one of the nation's most respected and successful pain doctors. He's been voted one of Chicago's best pain doctors several times. Bottom line, he's the pain doctor you need. Dr. Candido of Chicago Anesthesia and Pain Specialists will help you get off pain medication and all all of the side effects. How? By finding the source of your chronic pain and fixing it.
This is Ken Candido of Chicago Anesthesia Pain Specialists. Let's make you pain-free.
Call Dr. Ken Candido and make an appointment with a cutting-edge, respected, and successful pain physician. Go to mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com. Thousands have been helped with their chronic pain, and you could be the next one. Get the phone number and all the info you need at mypainchicago.com. That's mypainchicago.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Cardi B apparently was unavailable, so the Dems are going with Stacey Abrams for the So Too response next week.
That's going to be fun. And later, an 80s icon has passed away. But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
Skies are clear. It was just outside moments ago, minus 21. Officially at O'Hare, 43 outside, and it'll make your nose curl. Deadly Arctic deep freeze enveloping the Midwest, forcing widespread closures of schools, offices, even the Postal Service is tapping out this morning, taking the rare step of suspending wide swaths of the region's mail delivery. CTA here in Chicago turned buses into mobile warming shelters to try and encourage the homeless to come off the streets. Nancy Powers is a Salvation Army volunteer passing out warm clothes and coffee to the homeless.
In this weather, believe it or not, at 20 degrees below zero, there are some folks that are still going to stay out.
Mayor Rahm Emanuel says major Chicago attractions will close today. Lincoln Park Zoo, Field Museum among them, and the extreme weather conditions prompting Amtrak to cancel all trains into and out of Chicago. Even short-distance service will be canceled on Thursday. Operations at Chicago's two major airports continue despite frigid temperatures. About 300 flights canceled at O'Hare, about 300 flights canceled at Midway. Frigid weather blanketing Illinois means Chicago public school students and hundreds of thousands of suburban and statewide kids, both Catholic and public, will stay home, and private school children as well through Thursday. And universities ranging from DePaul and Northwestern to Lewis University and Concordia will close. Turning to other news this morning, the Congressional Conference Committee charged with coming up a way to fund the government and border security meets for the first time today. Thousands of additional troops are being sent to the U.S.-Mexico border amid the ongoing security efforts there. The FBI says in its final report on the Las Vegas mass shooting, the gunman sought infamy, but its team of investigators and behavioral analysts could not determine a clear motive for the October 2017 attack. Here locally, Chicago Alderman Danny Solis is resigning as chairman of the City Council's Zoning Committee following a scathing Sun-Times report yesterday detailing corruption allegations that led Solis to work with the FBI. No one in custody. Chicago police continue to investigate a possible hate crime involving Empire actor Jussie Smollett. Authorities say two approached the actor early yesterday in the 300 block of East North Lower Water Street, yelling racial and homophobic slurs at him. Nets over the Bulls, 122-117. College hoops fighting Illini. They're still on to play the Golden Gophers in Minnesota tonight, where it's minus 36 this morning. In other college basketball action, Northwestern lost to number 24 Maryland, and NIU gets win number 100 for Coach Mark Montgomery in a 71-60 victory here on AM 560 over Ohio. The news service of Peloton, live studio classes in the comfort of your own home. Peloton is a game-changing indoor cycling bike, bringing the energy of live studio classes right to your home anytime you want. Learn more about the Peloton bike at onepeloton.com or visit your local showroom. 6:35, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
If you're a realtor or managing broker purchasing online leads, please listen to this important message. Team Hochberg and the Miller Mortgage Group at Homeside Financial have developed a proprietary lead conversion system called LCS, which helped Kevin Glover of RE/MAX Professionals quadruple his online lead conversion. Team Hochberg and the Miller Mortgage Group would like to invite realtors and managing brokers to a complimentary lunch at White Eagle Country Club in Naperville on Thursday, January 31st to hear Kevin explain how LCS helped him increase his sales from $980,000 to $9.8 million last year. To register for the complimentary lead conversion system luncheon, go to 56david.com and click on the events tab. The LCS is complimentary for all our realtor partners. Seating is limited, so please go to 56david.com and click on the events tab to register to learn how to convert more online leads and sell more homes.
Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, MB 667611019, NMLS 1124061.
Policies issued by American General Life Insurance Company, Houston, Texas. Not available in all states. For details, visit AIGdirect.com.
If you're young and healthy, you don't need life insurance, right? Yeah, that's what I used to think too. Until my brother died at 38. Joe left his wife with 2 kids, a mortgage, and a stack of bills she couldn't pay. Mary had to sell the house and move everybody into this tiny 2-bedroom apartment just to make ends meet. I never want to do that to my wife, so I got life insurance. I called AIG Direct and was really surprised how affordable it is. Just $14 a month for $250,000 of term life coverage. Listen, if you have a family, you should seriously think about getting life insurance. You'll feel a lot better having it. Trust me.
Call AIG Direct for a free, no-obligation quote. The call takes less than 5 minutes, and you could save up to 70%. Call now. 1-800-600-9519. That's 1-800-600-9519. 1-800-600-9519.
Got an email last night from a lady in Florida who doubted my sincerity about Relief Factor until she tried it. She tried Relief Factor. In her case, it took her almost 3 weeks, and she woke up pain-free. Relief Factor was the answer she's been looking for. This makes my 60 seconds to tell you about Relief Factor some of the happiest times of my day, because I know people are going to get the relief that they've been craving. You can get all the pain relief benefits of Relief Factor without the negative side effects of ibuprofen or prescription drugs. Physicians created Relief Factor as a crucial way to support the body's fights against aches and pains. So no matter your age, maybe you're just too sore after a great workout at the gym, or if you're like me and you're of a certain age and you want to start dealing with the aches and pains of life, give Relief Factor a try. The 3-week quick start is $19.95. Try it for 3 weeks. It's $19.95. Decide if it's for you or not. ReliefFactor.com. ReliefFactor.com, or call 800-500-8384. 800-500-8384. Relief Factor.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, roasted fresh daily in Batavia, Illinois.
It is 6:38. Let's check the roads in the AM 560 Traffic Center with Jim Talamonte.
Flight boards at O'Hare now show more than 1,000 cancellations today. More than 320 flights have been canceled at Midway. There's no service on the South Shore line. Overhead wire issues. Officials will make a determination later today whether there will be service tomorrow. Metro and other rail lines, including CTA, have some delays as well due to the conditions. You see no delays on the Edens, the Kennedy, or the Eisenhower. An earlier crash on the inbound line near Cicero is gone. Stevenson and the Ryan are fine. Same true of I-57 and the Bishop Ford Freeway. Northbound Tri-State from the ramp to westbound I-80 is crashed in the 2 left lanes. Indiana Toll Road westbound, it's shut down from 31 to State Road 39 with a wreck. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center. Sunny, breezy, but don't be deceived. Much, much colder than yesterday. Extreme cold. Our high only minus 13 today. That's the high. Record-breaking cold again overnight. Extreme cold can be dangerous. A low of minus 24. Tomorrow, high of minus 1 and a high of 22 on Friday. Minus 22 at O'Hare right now. Wind chills across the entire area, minus 45 to minus 52. Your next news update at 7. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by On Target Radio. From firearms and Second Amendment rights to personal freedoms and government intrusions. Listen here Sunday nights at 9.
It's time for Dan Prof's parenting tips. Whoa! Dan Prof's parenting tips. Whoa! Tell your kids to shut up and listen to him.
You're a child. Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. You
Still
think
makes me
your
laugh.
kids make you happier, and if you think that, you're wrong. Research shows that parenthood leads to a happiness gap. Maybe that's because the pleasures of parenthood are outweighed by all the extra responsibilities, housework, and, of course, the costs.
Ugh. Yeah, these kids are expensive, I always say.
The average middle-income married couple spent between $12,350 and $13,900 on each of their children in 2015, according to a report from the U.S. Department of Agriculture.
I think it's much more than that, but all right.
And if you're asking why is the U.S. Department of Agriculture recording how much parents are spending on their kids, that's a very good question.
Yeah, why are they?
Because those non-essential employees have to do something. Extrapolate for that number, you're looking at spending about $233,000 per child from birth through age 17. If you're wealthy, like Amy, you can expect to spend significantly more, around $372,000 for each child from birth through age 17.
Well, yeah, I mean, groceries alone, and Mike Scott, I want to know, because he's got a family of 4. Groceries alone, I spend more than $300 a week on groceries. I've got 2 growing boys, and they eat me out of house and home. How much do you spend a week?
I think we budget $250 a week, but remember, one of the 3 is out the door, pretty much, Jeremy.
Okay.
So,
You go to
even
Aldi?
for
Where
3,
do you shop?
We shop at Aldi. 100% shop at
Aldi is
Aldi.
not
So you have you have 4 kids, Mike. So
Right.
let's round number that. Let's just say that's $1 million. Do you think every day about what you could have done with that $1 million?
Do you understand how much milk we go through
Oh, gallons.
on a weekly basis?
Do you have? I'm
It's
sure you got, what,
just-
4 gallons, right?
Oh my goodness!
Love those.
We should own our own farm.
Yeah, if you'd had your own
it's
cow,
insane.
milked your own cow, you would have
Yes,
saved money.
we wonder every day how warm our tropical island would be.
Exactly.
Yep.
It's
Amy,
unbelievable.
do you?
I don't buy anything for myself anymore. I'll never forget on Mother's Day last year, Eli came up to me and goes, Mom, you don't have any new clothes. You don't even have any new active wear. Why don't you go buy yourself something? I'm
Yeah.
like, well, I can't because I buy clothes for you guys because they're growing. Eli's taller than me now.
Do you?
Peyton's 6'5".
Do you think about what would be in your closets if you had
don't
that
make me
extra
go there.
$500
Don't-
grand
don't
that
make me go.
Eli and Peyton are eating up?
I'd have a nice car.
Yeah,
You
one
have-
that didn't need vegetable oil to open the door.
You'd-
One that
you'd-
could, one that would turn
smart.
over in the cold.
Vegetable. This is what it sounded like this morning. Ready? It wouldn't catch. Wouldn't catch.
Yeah.
Guess how much an Uber costs to come out here? I would have
No.
had to wait 22 minutes.
It would have to like surge pricing too, right? So
Oh, yeah.
maybe like
More than
$670.
No, yeah, about $80.
Yeah.
But
That's
I
not
got
bad.
another car to work.
You're taking food out of the mouths of your children by doing that.
That's why I.
It's a guilt
scrounge around.
trip.
Now, not to sidetrack things, but what is your Uber rating now? I know like a week
Oh.
ago you were going to
yeah,
talk
yeah.
about that.
All right, so I know why my Uber rating was down. Real quick.
Because you're
No.
mean.
You're a bad tipper.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh,
You're
I've
mean
started
to Uber drivers.
I
That's
am
why.
not mean at all. I'm very nice now. You.
That's not what I hear from one of those Ponce brothers that's driving.
Stop. I did see him in his car the other day, too, by the way. All right, let's see my Uber rating. My Uber rating was bad because my children, I've been Ubering my kids around. And apparently Eli was, the frost or the condensation that forms on a window, he was making marks, and the Uber driver didn't like that. So that affects my rating.
So there you go. Think about
I'm
how
a
happy you would
4.2
be.
425, by the way.
You'd have $500,000 more.
Right.
And you'd have a higher Uber rating. If it wasn't for Peyton
What's
and Eli.
your Uber rating now?
4.86.
Yeah, you're such a show off.
Uh,
I'm getting better. 4.25 is not bad.
Now, is this true, or is this just sort of the anti-family nature of the D.C. Press Corps reporting this financial data that the kids making you happier, is that an urban legend? Is that a myth? Does your experience comport with the research that show a happiness gap because of all the things you could be doing with the money you would have had? 312-642-5600, turnkey.pro answer line, 64636DA, turnkey.pro text line. And don't give me the answer you think you should give. I want an honest assessment of trading your kids in for cash.
What a bunch of bull hockey. That's my editorial comment
all
for
my
the day. Thank you.
All my friends that don't have kids have nice things such as nice cars, but they also have second homes.
Yeah, and they're
whether
grumpy,
they be in
too.
Michigan or they're in Florida.
I know, but they're grumpy.
No, they're not.
They are.
They're
They really
happy.
are.
Yeah.
No, I don't think they're grumpy. I think that they're very happy.
I'm happy with my imaginary kids.
They're fake kids. How old are they now?
They're 10 and 12, just like
Oh, that's right.
birthdays.
10 and 12.
Yeah.
That's right, yeah.
January birthdays.
Yeah. No, I mean, I love my children, but I'm looking at a 5-day weekend with them right now because school canceled today, school canceled tomorrow. We were not having school Friday anyway. So it would have been nice.
All
if
right.
I had money, we could go away.
But here's the other thing. Now, if you're going to go ahead and have the kids,
Yes.
And derive some enjoyment from them, get a return on the investment you're making.
My kids I have boys. They're not going to help me when I'm
You're talking
old.
about
They're not even going to come visit me at the
you're
home.
talking, for you're talking about like $750,000.
Oh.
You know?
I know.
Here's something you can do.
What?
Pull them away from screens. New study
Oh,
from
boy.
psychologists, doctors in Canada found increased screen time in young children can cause issues with reaching developmental milestones. Looked at 2,400 plus mothers and children with higher levels of screen time for children aged 2 to 2.5. And then the developmental milestone test results in the same children that were 3 to 5 years old. The study found on average the 2-year-olds watching 17 hours of television per week, 3-year-olds watching 25,
What did they discover?
for each age group, they found children with increased screen time showed poor performances on developmental testing when they reached the next age group.
Yeah,
Developmental evaluations, communication, motor and fine motor skills, problem solving, personal social skills.
Well, yeah. Do you know how many? Because when my kids were younger, we didn't have the iPad, and we didn't have iPhones where you could just put on, like a cartoon and have the kids watch it. Kids are constantly, always, all I see. This is the ultimate babysitter now. iPhones and iPads for moms. If they're in the grocery store, the kids watching a movie. If they're walking down the street, the kids watching a movie. If you're at a restaurant, they're watching a cartoon. It's ridiculous. Shame on those new moms.
Yeah,
Don't
but-
be lazy. Let them be bored. It's okay to be bored.
Right, and the result is that the developmental lapse, but also the developmental lag, but also just less resilient. You haven't interacted with people. You haven't confronted problems. You haven't had to hash things out. You haven't been challenged, except to get the high score on Tour of Duty or Call of Duty or Fortnite or whatever it is.
Fortnite. Battle Royale. Do you know how much Fortnite is going to be played in the next 5 days here?
How much?
So much that the city is going to get a lot on the amusement tax.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, because now they tax what I do in my own home. That's amusement tax. 9%. I got my bill.
Well, there's
I'm out of my mind. I'm so upset.
There's the upside of kids. They serve as revenue generators for the state.
Yeah, there you go.
That's good. Rob and Huntley, you're on Chicago's Morning Answer. Hey, Rob.
Rob.
Hi.
Hey, how are you?
Yeah, go ahead.
How you doing?
Hello?
Yeah, Rob, you're on. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, the Illinois law, if you're a divorced parent, will make you or force you to pay for your kids' college. So even after they turn 18 and become an adult, up to the age of 23, you can be forced to pay for their college. And not just a community college. They'll use the University of Illinois as the basis of what you're going to pay.
Yeah. Okay, thanks for the call, Rob. Good point. And public universities charge an average of $20,000 for tuition in state, $34,000 if you're not, and then of course private schools are a multiple of that. So then that's another, that'd be another $200,000 to $300,000 for you, Amy.
What could I do with that money? We could go car shopping.
Yeah. I mean, think about that. You could be tooling around in a Maserati, and all you have to do is sacrifice Peyton or Eli's college education. Think about it.
Okay.
Fa la 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 ka-ching.
Hear about the big stories of the day, then talk about them right here on Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Lou Dobbs, the Fed chair, facing a test today. Will he or will he not raise interest rates? And will he slow down the sale of assets from the Fed's balance sheet? And Harley-Davidson sales still struggling. Those stories next.
Here's some great News. If you missed the deadline to sign up for health insurance, or more importantly, if you sign up for a plan that you're just not happy with, you still have a choice. It's called Medi-Share, and Medi-Share is a Christian healthcare sharing program. It's been around for 25 years. They have more than 400,000 members now around the country. And get this, over the years, Medi-Share members have shared more than $2 billion of each other's medical bills, so they could help share your needs too. And best of all, you could save a lot of money with Medi-Share. The typical savings for a family is around $500 a month. Your savings could be more or less, but think about what you could do with that extra money every month. So if you think you're stuck with a high-cost health plan that doesn't have much to offer, think again. You can join Medi-Share anytime, so call them today and check it out. There's no pressure. They're super easy to talk to. 855-41-BIBLE. That's 855-41-BIBLE. 855-41-BIBLE.
Economic reports will be following today. Fed Chair Jerome Powell will hold a news conference. He's expected to slow down hikes in interest rates. Also today, updates on pending home sales and investor confidence in the economy. Government agencies missing some regular deadlines in the wake of the recent shutdown. The advanced fourth quarter GDP report, among others, has been delayed because of the government shutdown, and so has December's retail sales, durable goods report, and trade figures. Shares of Harley-Davidson fell yesterday, reporting a nearly 8% decline in sales worldwide. Harley-Davidson struggling to boost domestic sales and overseas sales as well. Please join me for Lou Dimes tonight, 7 o'clock and 10 Eastern on the Fox Business Network. This is the Lou Dobbs Financial Report.
We've all been there, looking for a parking spot when it's freezing and icy outside. The icy pavement of this pothole-filled parking lot is a nightmare. Oh, there's a spot. Wait, oh no, you're sliding. Watch out for that pothole. Your tire just blew out. The kids are crying and you're never coming back here again. Business owners and property managers, avoid frustrating your customers with a less than perfect parking lot. Pavement Solutions can offer you a safer and longer lasting pothole repair with permanent cold mix asphalt. It's an immediate solution, and 90% of potholes patched will never need to be repaired again. Call Pavement Solutions today and learn how they can fix your lot in a day without closing it. In fact, as customers drive over the patch, it gets stronger. Don't put your customers or your business at risk with annoying potholes. Give your customers the experience they deserve. Call Pavement Solutions for a free quote. 815-675-0696. 815-675-0696.
Hey, CubeMates. Anyone else looking forward to that exciting quarterly meeting today?
Sure. Another company lunch with bland sandwiches and a side of boring whatever. Can't wait.
Are you guys kidding? Obviously you haven't heard. We're having tasty catering today. Look out, I'm gonna go grab my seat.
Get more out of your meetings and company events. It's time to get tasty. Tasty Catering's brand new corporate catering menu has the spice and flavor your team will love. Dine on menu items like a roasted vegetable hummus sandwich, honey sriracha pork chops, and all of their brand new chef creations. Powering productive meetings day or night, Tasty Catering professionals help you plan the perfect chef-crafted menu. Their leading chefs cook up your catering, then the Tasty Catering ambassadors deliver and set up for your event. When your team is finished experiencing their delicious meal, they come back to break it down and clean it all up. Simple and delicious. Visit tastycatering.com to get started today and find their brand new corporate menu along with comments from other Tasty Catering clients. tastycatering.com.
You've invested a lot in your company's resources and reputation, so it's a logical next step to consider implementing or upgrading a commercial security system to protect your company and assets. Of course, you want to maximize ROI, so it's important to weigh the pros and cons of a business security system and determine how simple or complex of a system your business may need. Business security systems range in size and scale from simple individual alarm and camera systems to fully integrated complex designs that incorporate access control, CCTV, and management from a single platform across multiple sites. 2Secure Inc., Chicagoland's business security experts, use the newest technology and can reduce costs by reusing your existing hardware and cable infrastructure. 2Secure is offering a free, no-obligation, live, on-site CCTV demo. See for yourself how a new or upgraded security system can work for your business. Call 708-990-4408 or visit 2secure.com, 708-990-4408, or online at the number 2secureinc.com.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and you'll have to wait until spring to get the outside of your house painted, but winter, perfect opportunity to get your interior painted. You know, people walk into my kitchen and ask, Amy, did you get new cabinets? Now I save myself thousands of dollars by simply having them painted by the experts at CertaPro Painters. So cross the first project off your 2019 to-do list. CertaPro Painters will ensure a beautiful transformation of your home. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered. In-home with a color consultation or online with their color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
You probably don't realize this, but between you and your employer, you've contributed as much as 12.4% of your earnings to Social Security, and you've been doing this since your very first paycheck as a kid. Add it up over 40 or 50 years, and it could make your 401k contributions look like chump change. But there's one big problem. Claiming your Social Security benefits is complicated, confusing, and riddled with trapdoors. Hi, this is Tom Fortino. According to PBS and Boston University professor Lawrence Kotlikoff, the Social Security Handbook has 2,278 separate rules governing its benefits, and it has thousands upon thousands of explanations of those rules. Talk about a user's nightmare. Learn how you can help get what's yours. The answers are in our new reports on maximizing your Social Security benefit. It includes little-known strategies that could earn you tens of thousands of dollars more, even as much as $100,000 over your lifetime. This could be a game changer. Call right now to receive this information. 630-519-4742. That's 630-519-4742.
Investment advisory services offered through Retirement Wealth Advisors, Inc.
AM 560, The Answer.
Super Bowl Sunday, and Tom Brady has a message for all the haters, including 10-year-old Ace Davis, who scientifically proved that he's a cheater.
Who we had on the show earlier.
That's right. Brady talking to another young man,
Oh, that's right. Who's that little kid? I saw him.
an aspiring sports reporter.
Despite the negative fan base, a.k.a. the haters. I don't know. What do we do about the haters? We love them. We love them. We love them back because we don't hate back.
There it is. Message of love from Tom Brady. Does that make you like him more? No.
No. But I hate the Rams because of what they did to the Saints. So I'm cheering for the Patriots for the first time in my life.
Okay. All right. There it is. Bears super fan Don Behrman Wachter.
Oh, yeah. Didn't he is he in the Hall of Fame or something? What happened?
He's a finalist.
For what?
Related football note. Finalist for the Ford Hall of Fans, which is a special section in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And where, Amy?
In Canton, Ohio.
There it is.
I've been there.
Very nice.
It's really cool.
He is competing against two other finalists. Steelers fan Rick Holman, who I'm pulling for.
Oh, what about the whistle guy from New Orleans?
Dolphins fan Roger Avila. Those are the three finalists.
Wait, why wouldn't they put that St. Louis or a New Orleans Saints fan?
To take it up with the committee.
I
Take it
will,
up with the fans.
because that
it's
guy
a fan
was
vote.
cool.
Wachter, who has worked as an urban forester in LaGrange, last worked as an urban forester in LaGrange, has been a season ticket holder for 33 years. Navy and orange face paint, real Bears head.
Oh, I know who that guy is.
Number 46, Doug Plank jersey, fake fur on his arms and legs. Carried the Bears flag at as Bearman at Soldier Field from 98 to 01, and during the team's one season in Champaign. And so,
good for him. I hope he wins.
Good luck to Don Behrman Wachter.
Wonder if he ever
Making
washes
Chicago
it.
proud. I mean, washed the stink of Cody Parkey off of this season.
We're not going to see Cody Parkey next season.
The Bears.
Coming up on the Morning Answer.
We'll talk to Dud Diamond and Silk about the State of the Union and the Dems' choice for a respondent at 7:07.
And later, how to care for those feral cats in Chicago. There's 200,000 of them. I wonder how many are going to survive or become catsicles. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Here's Mike Scott.
Potentially record-breaking cold hitting Chicagoland. We'll monitor the temperatures for you. Chicago Alderman Danny Solis resigning as zoning committee chairman, and the Nets top the Bulls. WIND Chicago News Time, 7.
It hasn't felt this cold in Minnesota since the late 1970s. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. It's almost 60 below, wind chill.
I've had enough of this cold weather. I think we've shoveled 30 inches of snow, so I'm ready to go home.
He's headed back to Dallas from Wisconsin, where it's also frigid. Fox's Jeff Manasso live in Kenosha County.
Dave, wind chills dipping here to around 50 below zero, with warnings from western North Dakota to southern Illinois to New England. In Chicago, Amtrak trains are canceled. A state of emergency also declared. There are power outages in parts of Wisconsin and and Minnesota, where it feels like
hard to take a breath in.
Like I'm going into a freezer.
Frigid cold.
Cold.
It's pretty cold. It's pretty cold. There are no travel warnings issued in parts of North Dakota. Schools and businesses closed throughout the region through tomorrow. About 212 million people will see temps well below zero over the next couple of days. Dave.
And Jeff, even the Postal Service has suspended delivery today in parts of the Dakotas, Minnesota, and Wisconsin, down to Illinois, Iowa, Nebraska, and Kansas. Bipartisan border talks start later in Washington, trying to avert a second partial government shutdown in 2 weeks. House Republican leader Kevin McCarthy says Trump critics had said they'd negotiate if the government reopened.
So it's really going to be on the Democrats who made this promise today at 1:30 when they walk into that room. If they have the same language, that is wrong.
President Trump tweeted, if they aren't talking about a wall, it's a waste of time. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer wants him to butt out.
When the president stays out of the negotiations, we almost always succeed.
Now, the president also tweeted reaction to what his director of national intelligence, Dan Coates, told a Senate hearing, that ISIS remains a threat, still plotting attacks, and North Korea is not giving up nukes.
Its leaders ultimately view nuclear weapons as critical to regime survival.
The president counted there's a decent chance of denuclearization, and he looks forward to meeting with Kim Jong-un again soon. As for ISIS, he wrote, tremendous progress has been made. The caliphate will soon be destroyed. Unthinkable 2 years ago. This is Fox News.
22 below zero, wind chill of minus 47. At 7:02 on AM 560, The Answer. Good morning. I'm Mike Scott. The Arctic deep freeze has draped the Midwest, the cold prompting the Postal Service to take the rare step of suspending area-wide mail delivery, the CTA turning buses into mobile warming shelters to try and encourage what remains of the homeless not in shelters to come off the street.
In this weather, believe it or not, at 20 degrees below zero, there are some folks that are still going to stay out.
Nancy Powers is a Salvation Army volunteer passing out coffee and clothes to the homeless. Extreme weather conditions prompting attractions like the Lincoln Park Zoo, the Art Institute, the Field Museum to remain closed today. Extreme weather prompting Amtrak to cancel all trains into and out of Chicago. Short and long distance train, overnight trains, even short distance service for Thursday has been canceled. Frigid weather means Chicago public school students, hundreds of thousands of suburban and statewide school kids will get the next 2 days off, and many colleges and universities from DePaul and Northwestern to Trinity and Palos and St. Xavier and Concordia will also close through noon at least on Thursday. In other news this morning, Chicago Alderman Danny Solis is resigning as chairman of the City Council's Zoning Committee. Bill Daley getting a big boost in his bid for mayor. Cubs owner Tom Ricketts donating $25,000. Daley tops the field of 14 candidates in fundraising. And authorities have arrested a second suspect in the shooting death of the student body president of a historically black college in Missouri. Michael Boucher was taken into custody overnight in Texas. He's wanted on a murder warrant in the death of Lincoln University senior D'Angelo Bland from Chicago. Nets over the Bulls in Brooklyn, 122-117. College hoops, Illinois and Minnesota still set to battle tonight in the Twin Cities. In other college basketball action, Northwestern lost to number 24 Maryland, and Northern Illinois beat Ohio.
Hayes the cut, the dish. Thorpe, he's got the hot hand.
Dante Thorpe with 20 in the win number 100 for Coach Mark Montgomery. The news, a service of Discover. Get your free credit scorecard today. Even if you're not a Discover customer, it includes your FICO credit score, and checking scorecards won't hurt your credit. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. A check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Winter stinks. Snow, ice, freezing temperatures, more snow. Escape Chicago and join Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. You'll stay at the Marvel Residences Luxury Resort in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. It's a beautiful, all-inclusive resort located between Rainforest Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. Don't wait to book your Passport to Paradise trip with AM 560 and Apple Vacations. Visit 560theanswer.com/passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport.
36 days. That's how long it takes the average company to find their next hire. Glassdoor can help you quickly find the right job candidate in half the resumes. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. And Glassdoor hires are committed. They're 30% more likely to stay with your business longer. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
When it comes to your identity and devices, there's no soundtrack to let you know you might be in danger. That's why you need LifeLock with Norton Security to look out for the silent threats of today's digital universe. No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But LifeLock detects threats to your identity, and Norton protects against online threats. Join now at LifeLock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off your first year.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest-growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
If you think all banks are the same, it's time to think about Signature Bank Chicago. I'm Pete Olson, head of commercial banking at Signature Bank, where the people who own the bank operate the bank. Not in an abstract way, but in the same hands-on, personalized way that you run your business. We don't rely on a legion of business developers to find new relationships. We don't trust an outsourced phone bank to address your customer service needs, and we don't delegate decision-making to some anonymous credit committee that you'll never meet. We do everything we can to help you succeed, because if you don't succeed, we don't succeed. Call us today to see the Signature Bank difference.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Get your free credit scorecard today, even if you're not a Discover customer. It includes your FICO credit score, and checking your scorecard won't hurt your credit. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply.
7:07, a check on the morning roads in the AM 560 traffic center. Here's Jim Talamonte.
South Shoreline trains are not operating at all today, and there are some major delays across some of the Metra and CTA lines. The Edens Expressway is clear at this hour. We see no delays on the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, the Stevenson, or the Ryan. Light traffic, no incidents or delays. Toward on I-57, Bishop Ford Freeway, Lakeshore Drive. Northbound Tri-State on the ramp to west on I-80. There's a crash. The ramp's been there for a while, blocking two left lanes. Otherwise, the Illinois tollways look good. Indiana, the Indiana Toll Road eastbound has a closure of the ramp to State Road 39 with a crash. Westbound, the toll road is shut down to 31 in South Bend, State Road 39. Hundreds of flight cancellations. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, here's our meteorologist, Steve Williams.
Wind chill warning in effect through Thursday. Sunny, breezy, very cold today, high minus 13. Clear and cold tonight, dangerous levels, low minus 24. For tomorrow, increasing cloudiness and a high at minus 3. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560, The Answer.
22 below at O'Hare, 19 below along the lakefront, and most reporting stations across the upper half of the state, minus 45 to minus 52 from Peoria all the way to the Wisconsin state line. Your next news update is at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Make sure to check out the Income Store live video stream of today's show right now at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Polar Vortex 2019, and this is a serious note. We got an email from one guy, no power since 4 a.m., no information, city, non-emergency, not helpful, actually ignorant when called. ComEd seems to always fail. This wasn't a surprise, but I don't know where that person is, but my sister texted me.
Uh-oh, what?
She's in Warrenville. She said that her neighborhood has no power.
That's dangerous.
So she's...
where are they going to head?
She's going to my dad's place in Wheaton. Yeah. So that's one report in Warrenville. I just emailed this guy who emailed us about no power since 4 a.m. Maybe he's Warrenville area too, but if not, we'll report on where that is.
How long has your sister's power been out?
I don't know. She just texted me.
Oh, my God. That's scary, too, because then you don't have heat in your house, and then obviously your pipes can burst, and that's a whole other big problem.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
All right. So we'll, and I'm sure Mike Scott will as well, keep you updated on the impacts of the Arctic, actually worse than Arctic, worse than Siberian,
No,
Mount Everestian,
it's
worse than Mount Everest.
It's so cold here.
How cold is it?
That it's warmer in the South Pole. It's warmer in Antarctica.
Yeah.
It's bad. We haven't seen these temperatures since, the 80s.
The flip side is, though, great day for a Segway tour around the lake. No waiting. So
well, nothing's open, too. Navy Pier's closed. The museums are all closed. No mail today.
We're open, and we're talking about the salient issues of the day. We've got a State of the Union address coming next week. And do we have a deal on border security funding coming to Trump's desk before that address? There is movement, underreported story, of course, because the D.C. press corps is hoping Republicans break bad on Trump. But 36 Democrat legislators went to Nancy Pelosi wanting to do a deal on border funding along the lines of what the president proposed the weekend before last. You've had Republicans, one report out yesterday, Republicans giving Trump the green light for a border wall emergency declaration if there is no deal struck between this bipartisan congressional contingent negotiating a deal. Also, to buttress the president's claim of the humanitarian crisis on the border, as well as the security crisis, Pentagon is readying to provide more troops to seal the Mexican border, particularly if Trump does invoke his emergency power, according to Acting Secretary of Defense Patrick Shanahan, who made that pronouncement yesterday. And remember, as we talked about, you've had the president identify a couple of weeks ago, and it now confirmed by multiple media outlets over the last few days, that you have yet another migrant caravan trying to make its way up through Mexico to the United States, perhaps numbering as great as 12,000. So against all that, the Democrats have selected their respondent to the State of the Union address. Always a tough role for anybody to do successfully, much less memorably. Stacey Abrams, the failed Democrat nominee for governor of Georgia in 2018. Stacey Abrams. Now, Cardi B apparently was unavailable. That was both my choice and Stephen Colbert's. And you'll remember she submitted an audition tape, which I found very compelling, just to refresh your recollection.
Hey, y'all, I just want to remind y'all, because it's been a little bit over 3 weeks, okay? It's been a little bit over 3 weeks. Trump is now ordering, as in summoning, federal government workers to go back to work without getting paid. Now, I don't want to hear y'all motherfuckers talking about, oh, but Obama shut down the government for 17 days. Yeah, for health care. So your grandma could check her blood pressure, and you could go check your in the gynecologist with no motherfucking problem. Now, I know a lot of y'all don't care because y'all don't work for the government or y'all probably don't even have a job, but this is really serious, bro. This is crazy. Like, our country is in a hellhole right now, all for a wall. Like, we really need to take this serious. I feel like we need to take some action. I don't know what type of action because this is not what I do, but I'm scared. This is crazy, and I really feel bad for these people that got to go to work to not get motherfucking paid.
See, if Cardi B would have given the response, it would have been memorable.
It was a response, all right.
Maybe she can write Stacey Abrams' response or collaborate. For more on State of the Union, the state of a border security funding deal, and the state of Cardi B's command of the English language, we're pleased to be joined by Diamond and Silk, the first ladies of punditry, host of The Viewer's View, and stars of the new documentary, Dummycrats. Ladies, Diamond and Silk, thanks for joining us again. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us. Don't forget the host of Fox Nation.
Oh,
we have a
excuse
show
me.
on Fox Nation, foxnation.com.
That's right.
All right, very good. FoxNation.com. That's they're moving a lot of their television hosts into that Fox Asian space too. So that's great that Diamond and Silk are there. Diamond and Silk, your reaction to the selection of Stacey Abrams to respond to Trump's State of the Union address next week, how do you receive that?
Well, first of all, I don't care if they get Stacey Abrams or the Pope. Yeah. Nothing is going to be able to help the Democrats because the American people will be able to see right through them and how they didn't come to the table 3 times to make sure that furlough workers got paid. Mm-hmm. That's what they're not telling you. Listen, and when it comes to this President Donald J. Trump, he wants a border wall. He wants our country secure. Mm-hmm. And he gave them the opportunity by opening back up the government for them to come to the table to will and deal. And if they don't do that, they're going to be the ones looking crazy. So I don't care about Stacey Abrams or whoever. They can get whoever they want to. They can go to the bottom of the barrel or the top of the ladder. Don't make me no difference. The deal is we need border security. That's right.
Yeah, but a lot of people feel that Pelosi and Schumer, the Democratic Party in general, won because President Trump caved.
No, he didn't cave. Well, see, what you all don't understand is President Trump is a negotiator. Right. So he didn't cave. They gonna cave. All he did was pave the way for the Democrat rats to fall right into the trap.
That's right.
He tried to get them to negotiate 3 times to make sure the government workers got paid. Mm-hmm. They wouldn't even come to the table for that. Right. So he had to open up the government to make sure they got paid. That makes sure that they come to the table. But if you don't, the American people gonna see who's playing politics, who's playing with the American people's lives when it comes to our national security and when it comes to border security.
What the president did is reposition himself. While the Democrats is playing checkers, President Trump is playing chess.
Mm-hmm. Let me ask you this, see if I'm thinking properly. My suggestion for the State of the Union address, at least in the part that he's going to tackle border security and the immigration issue, was if there is no deal before then, and there might be, but if there isn't, would be to restate the compromise he proposed the weekend before last, because it's just so eminently reasonable. It contains so many things Democrats have previously supported and said they want. It is an overture from Republicans on to DACA families and so many Americans who support some sort of permanent resolution for those kids who were brought here by their parents. And I just think it's persuasive to most reasonable people who don't have an ideological bent or aren't consumed with Trump hate. So why not restate that if that's your best foot forward? And I wonder if you think that, and if you think not only in the State of the Union address should he restate the compromise he proposed, but on the
restate the compromise, he can restate all day. It's up to them to listen to what he's proposing and then move accordingly. And if they don't do that, what is the president supposed to do? Here's the deal. The president is asking for $5 point-something billion. Now, just this month alone, we've spent $18 billion on illegal aliens. Right. $18 billion. Give him the $5 point-something billion that he wants so that he can build this wall and give Border Patrol agents the resources that they need to do their job. Right. You want these agents to do their job and take these people in, and these people are coming in with various disease and issues and conditions, but you won't give them the resources they need to do it. That's just like telling me, go paint the house, but you got my hands tied behind my back. Now, how I'm going to paint it with my mouth? So I'm just like, we need to look at the bigger picture here. We're spending out all of these billions, taking in illegal alien, housing them in sanctuary cities. But all he asking for is $5 billion. Give him the $5 billion and solve that. We won't have to spend $18 billion a month or more.
But okay, I get where you want to go. But my point is, the president has this bully pulpit, and he has these opportunities. He has an opportunity actually before the Super Bowl. He's agreed to do the traditional pre-Super Bowl interview with CBS. So he's got that national opportunity, and he's got the State of the Union address. And so this is an opportunity for him to be persuasive. So what's the most persuasive case for him to make in advance of the position he's trying to achieve?
Tell the people the truth. Let them know what's going on at the border. Let them know how drugs are poured into the border. Let them know what he's planning to do. Just like when he opened up the government, he laid out what he wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So let them know that. I agree with that. But what I want the Democrats and all Americans to understand and see, we're spending out too much money here. Mm-hmm. And this problem can be solved. Yep. And when you have the top 2 leaders who are Democrats that don't want to solve this, then how much of a kickback Patty paddywhack, give a dog a bone are you getting? How are you profiting from this border being open? And that's what we need to look at. It's about solving problems instead of playing games, and Chuck and Nancy is playing games.
That's right.
So the State of the Union, much anticipated, is going to be next Tuesday. What do you want to hear from President Trump?
What we always
And will you
hear,
ladies be
we
there?
need to secure the border and tell the truth, and then show the American people how the Democrats are not working for them. You know, a lot of these Democrats were so-called, quote-unquote, elected to do a job for the American people, but they're so bent out of shape on working for illegal aliens. That's a problem for Americans. Most Americans want a wall. Most Americans want to be secured in their country. And so we need to go ahead, put forth the 5-point whatever billion to build it and keep it moving.
And then he also need to go ahead on and lay out and show us how everything that he's already implemented have benefited Americans for the betterment of all Americans. Let us see how the tax cuts have worked. Let us see how different things that he's implemented have worked in this country and benefited us. Look at what he's done in the last 2 years. He's done more in 2 years than Obama did in 8 years. Let us see all of that. Let us know all of that. And then we can watch Nancy's face. Last year it looked like a prune. This year it looked like a raisin.
That's right.
You know what would be funny, too, just along the lines of what you're suggesting, Diamond and Silk, with Howard Schultz's announcement that he's contemplating an independent run for president, and so many people being critical of the president's tax cuts and other successes like you're describing. Starbucks said in January 2018 statement, this is Starbucks reacting to the tax cuts. These offerings, the tax cuts, will total more than $250 million from more than 150,000 partners and are accelerated by recent changes in the U.S. tax law. The Starbucks, basically, how the Starbucks benefited and agreed that it benefited greatly, and so did its partners, 150,000 partners, meaning locations, benefited from the Trump tax cuts. That'd be a nice little hoist by your own petard to send that back in Howard Schultz's direction during the State of the Union address, wouldn't it?
Well, absolutely. And not only did Starbucks benefit, but Americans, average Americans also benefited from the tax cut, too.
That's
so
right.
That needs to also be put out there as well. I get tired of hearing people talk about they want to tax the rich. The rich is the one that employ people. If you have millions of dollars, you have employees. So instead of taxing the rich half to death, how about we take that money and pass that down to the employees instead of the government thinking that they can take it with this here socialistic ideas from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and that old Elizabeth Warren.
That's right. And if we stop funding sanctuary cities with taxpayers' dollars, if we stop funding illegal aliens with taxpayers' dollars, that money can come back to America, into America's pockets, and we don't have to be talking about taxing the rich just to do these social programs just to fund those. It's time for that money to come back to America. We can pay down our deficit, and we don't have to worry about doing all of these taxing on everybody.
And when you talk about taxing the rich, it reminds me of sharecropping.
Yeah.
You work all week, and then the man come to you and say, oh, well, you know you got to pay for this, you know you got to pay for that, and they only leave you with a few coins after you done pulled yourself up by your bootstraps and you done attained the American dream. If you going to take my money after I've obtained the American dream, then I'm not going to have any kind of push or pull to want to obtain it.
That's right.
All right.
Some things make me mad, and listen, it's just common sense. I love this president because he's using common sense. The American people is thinking about it a different way, and you got these elites, they don't like it, and that's why they're doing everything they can to destroy this president, because he's using common sense to solve problems. He's about solving problems. He's not no all talk, no action president. You have Democrats, they don't take action, and they go missing in action, and we're tired of it.
Hey, Diamond and Silk, I think, Arsenio Hall had things that make you go, I think you should do a segment on your Fox Nation, things that make you go, duh. How about that?
I love it. I just may do that. I love it. Yeah.
Diamond and Silk, Trump supporters, host of The Viewer's View, stars of the new documentary Dummycrats, and, of course, you can catch them on Fox Nation as well. Diamond and Silk, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you for having us.
Always
stay warm.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
You too.
Well, they're in the Carolina. They're fine.
Yeah, no, this cold snap is stretching far down past Illinois. The ladies joined us, by the way, on our Turnkey.pro answer line.
It's news, opinion, insight. This is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
A storm is on the horizon, and you need to keep the lights on no matter what. Your business relies on the power being on 24/7. It's the lifeblood of your data and computer systems. Weather-related outages from the power company are not acceptable. Your need for a source of power that's reliable 24/7, along with round-the-clock service that can dispatch technicians to your site immediately, is mission critical. Your business needs Charles Equipment Energy Systems on speed dial. These are the big boys, not residential or solar, but reliable industrial generators for emergency backup or events. When you need more than a 100-foot extension cord plugged into a small engine generator, call Charles Equipment Energy Systems. They keep the lights on with rental generators for job sites or power outages. Stay warm this winter. Plan ahead. Call now to prepare generators for winter storms and potential power outages. Call 630-834-6000. That's 630-834-6000 or charlesequipment.com. charlesequipment.com.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and you'll have to wait until spring to get the outside of your house painted, but winter, perfect opportunity to get your interior painted. You know, people walk into my kitchen and ask, Amy, did you get new cabinets? No, I save myself thousands of dollars by simply having them painted by the experts at CertaPro Painters. So cross the first project off your 2019 to-do list. CertaPro Painters will ensure a beautiful transformation of your home. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered. In-home with a color consultation or online with their color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
The most popular days to get engaged are Christmas, New Year's, and Valentine's Day. And guys, finding the perfect wedding venue can be harder to figure out than the color and quality of the perfect diamond. With love in the air, Avante Banquets is here to help you plan the wedding of your dreams for the party of a lifetime at a price right for you. Avante Banquets is part of the family-owned Chicago Prime Restaurants, with a picturesque location opened just last year near Barrington, providing fine American dining and a timeless experience. Avante is an exceptional space for your wedding or corporate events and fundraisers for an intimate gathering or parties of 500 or more. The calendar is filling up, so secure your date today at AvanteBanquets.com. That's AVANTE Banquets.com. With wedding packages starting at just $39 a person. Experience exceptional hospitality with the Calcunos family at Avante Banquets, because classic never goes out of style. AvanteBanquets.com. AvanteBanquets.com.
It may not be stomach issues.
For me, it's intense gas, or pain, or diarrhea, sometimes all at once, over and over.
I spent years with the symptoms but could never figure it out.
No matter what I did, they never went away. So I decided to break it down for my doctor and get really specific about my symptoms.
We discovered that exocrine pancreatic insufficiency, or EPI, may be the reason for my stomach issues.
EPI is caused by my pancreas. It leads to diarrhea, gas, bloating, stomach pain, unexplained weight loss, and oily stools. The symptoms just don't go away.
But EPI can show up with even one symptom.
The good news? EPI is manageable.
But to get to the right diagnosis, you have to break it down for your doctor and get specific about the severity of your symptoms.
Visit identifyepi.com to learn more and use the symptom checker to help change the conversation with your doctor. Brought to you by AbbVie.
AM 560. The Answer.
Great day to go on our trip. You know, it's right around the corner, and we need you to sign up. Come with us to Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. That's where we'll be heading with Apple Vacations, and you're invited to come along with us April 6th through April 13th. We'll be staying at the beautiful Maraval Residences Luxury Resort in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico.
Jonathan and Jennifer from Now Wichita are joining us.
Yay!
They're fun.
I know Bob Godfred's going to be joining us as well, because there's 9 golf courses nearby. And you can snorkel, play tennis, head to the spa. And the place, you have to go look online. Maraval Residences Luxury Resort. Every room, the smallest room is 1,400 square feet. That's about the size of my house. So they're lovely suites, all-inclusive, 24-hour
Your
room service.
servants' quarters, you mean?
Oh, yeah, right, sure. It's in between the rainforest and the Pacific Ocean, and it's simply gorgeous. So every year this trip gets bigger and better. And as you just mentioned, Jennifer and Jonathan are returning with us, and so many others, and you are going to want to be a part of this. The price that Apple Vacation has secured for this trip is incredible and exclusive to us, but it's only available for a limited time. Don't miss out. Sign up today when it's what? What do we have now? Minus 22 degrees? 23 degrees. Thank you, Mike Scott. 23 degrees, and I looked up in Nueva Barta, Mexico. It's going to be 82 degrees today.
Wow.
So, yeah.
That's a 100-degree difference.
Yeah, big difference.
That's
so come with
difference.
us. Sign up for the trip. Go to 560theanswer.com/passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Just quickly updating this email we got from a gentleman said power's out and ComEd is not being particularly helpful. There was in Oak Lawn. So my sister reported from Warrenville, power out, and then this guy is reporting from Oak Lawn that the power's out and ComEd's lying, saying that a driver hit a pole, and he said, no, actually what happened is the line snapped.
Yeah, it's windy out and it's cold, so there's a state of emergency on for the state of Illinois. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Going to be a state of emergency on for America if Kamala Harris gets elected. Harris versus Schultz. Who's right on nationalizing the health insurance market, or are neither of them? We'll ask Steve Moore at 7:37.
But first, into the newsroom we go. Here is Mike Scott.
How about we stay with that ComEd power outage map for a moment? And this is on the ComEd website. They have a power outage website. So Warrenville, Woodridge, Bolingbrook, North Riverside, Burbank, Willow Springs, Palos Heights, Crestwood, South Holland, Country Club Hills, just west of Frankfort, all in their area, according to ComEd, all with power outages, some as many as 1,000 grouped into an area. So they're having a little problem with lines. We've seen the same story in Wisconsin this morning with Xcel Energy, same story in Minnesota with Xcel Energy. So some lines are failing because of the cold. It's expected. It is that deep. And again, it is starting to show up on the ComEd power outage map as they are reporting this morning on their website. Meantime, we're watching the Arctic deep freeze develop for the Midwest, forcing widespread closures of schools, offices, and even the post office. And the rare step of suspending mail delivery is a wise one, according to meteorologist Bill Cairns.
This is the atypical. This is the unusual. This is where right now International Falls is -39 wind chill. Duluth is -35. Fargo -32. And this is just the beginning of it. We'll track this over the next 2 to 3 days.
In other news we're following this morning, the Trump administration is now requiring people seeking asylum to remain in Mexico until their cases come to court. The Senate panel is holding off on a vote now on William Barr's nomination of Attorney General. It's a procedural delay. He's expected to be confirmed. Closing arguments in the El Chapo drug trafficking trial in Brooklyn continue. Former New York City Mayor Michael Bloomberg continues to test the presidential waters yesterday with a trip to New Hampshire.
He failed at business, and now I think it's fair to say he is failing at government.
Bloomberg blasting President Trump as he considers entering the 2020 race. We're following operational problems at Chicago's two major airports, frigid temperatures causing big delays at O'Hare and Midway this morning, at least 300 at both. About 40% of departing flights have been impacted. You've heard Dan and Amy talk about schools being closed today. It's true. CPS, the Archdiocese, 209 schools. Universities like DePaul and Northwestern, all the way to St. Xavier and Concordia, and major community colleges like Triton in River Forest will stay closed through Thursday. A driver is dead after crashing an empty school bus in Libertyville. Police say that bus driver struck 3 parked vehicles yesterday just outside the Highland Middle School. City Council in Evanston has finally approved a $1.25 million settlement with a black man who sued after police tackled him and arrested him for stealing a car that turned out to be his own. Can you remember that voice? An iconic 70s and 80s R&B singer, James Ingram. Funeral arrangements are pending for Ingram, who worked closely with Quincy Jones and others. Died of complications from brain cancer at the age of 66 as a 2-time Grammy nominee and an Oscar nominee. Chicago sports found the Bulls falling to the Nets, 122-117. Fighting Illini are expected to play tonight in Minnesota, where the wind chills will be nearly 60 below as the Golden Gophers battle Illinois. College basketball last night, Northwestern lost to number 24 Maryland, and Northern Illinois beat Ohio. The news service of Discover, your free credit scorecard today. Get it, even if you're not a Discover customer, because it includes your FICO credit score, and checking your scorecard will not hurt your credit. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. 7:35 and a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager believes teachers' unions are part of the problem.
One is allowed to chew gum and walk at the same time. Understand how destructive teachers' unions are without having animosity toward all teachers. Teachers' unions are destructive forces in America. They're dark forces. Sorry. Some wonderful people are members of the dark force, the teachers' union.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Message and data rates may apply. Individual results may vary. See website for details.
But hey, I'm buying a huge flat screen TV so I can finally see it without my glasses.
Why not just get LASIK at the LASIK Vision Institute? That's what I'm doing.
My glasses and contacts are a pain. I'd love to finally get rid of these, but who can afford LASIK?
You can. Because the LASIK Vision Institute is offering dramatically low prices, as low as $220 per eye with an absolutely free consultation. Text START to 350350. The LASIK Vision Institute has already performed over 1 million procedures. They use advanced FDA-approved LASIK technology that helps the majority of patients achieve 20/20 vision for a fraction of what others charge. Better vision, better value. The LASIK Vision Institute. Make this the year you finally get LASIK for as low as $220 per eye. Text START to 350350. You'll see for free if LASIK is right for you. That's START to 350350.
Hey everyone, Carrie here. For years, you've heard my husband, Ken,
Hello, Radioland.
explain how Income Store is the place for your next revenue stream. Not to date ourselves, but Ken and I have been helping individuals and businesses grow their revenue since before the internet was even a thing. We've heard countless stories as to why people look to increase their revenue.
Some stories make us laugh, some make us cry.
These stories, combined with our own, have motivated Ken and I to dedicate our lives to help people, as Ken says, who need a revenue shot in the backside.
Whether you want to just learn how or simply put, you need to generate revenue today. Our mission is to serve both.
Our worldwide staff of over 150 help to create amazing resources, our most famous being the iTunes podcast.
Today's growth. You got to check out episode 383. It's truly amazing.
And both Inc. and Forbes have shared that when it comes to generating revenue, Income Store is a can't miss. To grow your revenue today, check out IncomeStore.com.
That's IncomeStore.com.
Check out Ground Game, the latest podcast from the Associated Press discussing the top political issues around the country. Available on Apple Podcasts.
7:38. Check the roads in the AM 560 traffic center with Jim Talamonte.
Well over 1,000 flights have been canceled at O'Hare today, more than 320 at Midway. There's no South Shoreline service at all, and Metra has many delays due to the conditions affecting many lines. In Oak Lawn, Central, 91st Street, there's some down power lines. The intersection of 91st and Central is blocked. You have very light traffic on the expressways, no delays to report on the Edens, Kennedy, the Eisenhower, the Stevenson, or the Ryan. All clear at I-57 and the Bishop Ford Freeway. Illinois tollways look good. West on I-80 after Shepley. There's a crash in the left lane. There's a closure of the westbound Indiana Toll Road from 31 to State Road 39. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1 Hour Heating and Air Conditioning Weather Center, sunny, breezy, colder, extremely cold, and a high of minus 13 today, a low of minus 24 overnight. Tomorrow, slight improvement, a high of 1 below, 2 below tomorrow night, and 22 above on Friday. Minus 23 at O'Hare, minus 20 along the lakefront, negative 50. On your wind chill at O'Hare at this moment. The next news update is at 8. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
This hourly segment is brought to you by In the Know with Wealth Management Group, hosted by Craig Bolanos. Heard Sunday mornings at 10.
If you're looking for the latest news, insight into what it means, and the sharpest opinion, there's only one station in Chicago where you can turn, and it's this one. We're AM 560, The Answer.
Dan and Amy, CNN is getting into full 2020 mode. Had a town hall with Kamala Harris. You say Kamala, I say Kamala.
I actually watched a little bit of it, and then I fell asleep.
Jake Tapper moderated. They're full in for Kamala Harris or other Democrat socialists. So they actually just hired another one, Andrew Gillum. He's a CNN contributor now. How about that?
Well, Andrew Gillum, though, is still under investigation for some campaign fraud, right?
Not only is he under investigation, a Florida ethics panel last week found probable cause for ethics violations involving the former Tallahassee mayor, former Dem nominee for governor down there in Florida, meaning the civil investigation moves to the next step, but to a hearing before an administrative judge, and no word on whether or not the FBI is still interested in Andrew Gillum's exploits as mayor of Tallahassee. So we'll stay tuned to that. But here's Kamala Harris. It's a race to the hard left. It's who can get past.
Who could be more progressive?
Who can be more Maduroan, I would say. If we're really being honest. Here's a Kamala Harris putting her best foot forward in that direction on the health insurance market. You know what the problem with the private health insurance market is? That it exists.
We have witnessed a case where a seated member of Congress, acting in her... I believe the solution, and I'm actually feel very strongly about this, is that we need to have Medicare for all. That's just the bottom line.
Who are those Iowans
I'll say this,
clapping?
And this is, I think, why you're also asking this question. What we know is that to live in a civil society, to be true to the ideals and the spirit of who we say we are as a country, we have to appreciate and understand that access to health care it should not be thought of as a privilege. It should be understood to be a right.
Yeah, one of those new rights the left invented. So Tapper properly followed up with her on your Medicare for all, and specifically you mean no more private health insurance. It's all government directed, right?
I believe it will totally eliminate private insurance. So for people out there who like their insurance, they don't get to keep it?
Well, listen, the idea is that everyone gets access to medical care. And you don't have to go through the process of going through an insurance company, having them give you approval, going through the paperwork, all of the delay that may require. Who of us has not had that situation where you got to wait for approval and the doctor says, well, I don't know if your insurance company is going to cover this? Let's eliminate all of that. Let's move on.
Let's eliminate all that. You move on because, the problem in insurance companies, there's paperwork and bureaucracy.
Oh, there's none of that in government, though.
Correct.
No, not at all.
No. This is, the adult consideration. Do insurance companies, do they ration? Yes, per the terms of their policy. Does government ration? Yes. And all of those single-payer, government-run health insurance / healthcare models that the left tries to invoke the world over, take a real good look at them for rationing. That is why the joke is of the Canadian system. The good news about that gallbladder surgery you need, it's free. The bad news is you're never going to get it. Yeah. That's the P.J. O'Rourke summary of the Canadian system, and it has been that way for a long time. So the idea that government is more efficient and more competent in this space, something as important as your health care. You think the government is more efficient and more competent than private sector actors. Do you really? Well, Howard Schultz doesn't.
Yeah, he took her to task.
He had this to say on CBS this morning.
So what industry are we going to abolish next? The coffee industry? I mean, the Republicans want to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. I don't agree with that. The Affordable Care Act should stay and it should be refined. But to think we should get rid of the insurance industry Again, this is exactly the situation. It's far too extremes on both sides, and the silent majority of America does not have a voice, and that's the voice I want to get.
Yeah, the problem with Howard Schultz, of course, is he just wants to slow walk the country to the same destination. For more on this topic, we're pleased to be joined by Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, chief economist for CNN. Steve, thanks for joining us. Congratulations on Andrew Gillum joining your team over there at CNN.
Well, good morning, guys. And by the way, I was over at CNN that night that that interview was going on with Kamala Harris. And the interesting thing about it was I didn't know much about her. I'd never really seen her, and I thought she, throughout the interview, I watched most of it. I didn't watch the whole thing. She was very impressive. She was just, she's quick on her feet, and was just the way she reacted with the audience was good. I thought, wow, she's the real thing. And then I saw that moment, that you just played, and I said, whoop, she's done. There is no way. We're not a socialist country. I pray that we haven't moved that far to the left. Where is it really true that the Democrats in 2020 are going to their message is going to be to the American people? We don't care if you like your health insurance plan. We're putting you in this new one. I mean, at least Barack Obama, as you may recall, remember when he was selling us the fraud of Obamacare, at least the rhetoric. Remember this, guys? It was, if you like your health care, you get to keep it. Right. Well, Democrats have thrown that. They're not even pretending you can keep your health care if you like it. And incidentally, I looked at at some of the polling numbers. It turns out about 75% of people who have employer-based health care, as I do, like the coverage that they have. They don't want Medicare for all. They want their own system. But I think what this speaks to is a broader point about what's happening with the left in America and the Democratic Party, that it has become almost Stalinistic in its view of we don't care if you want to do A, we're going to force you to do B. And that is so true when it comes to health care, when it comes to education. They don't want people to have choices. They don't want competition. They want government to run it. And that is a losing message with the American people.
They just want to hand out free stuff, and we'll take care of your, student loans and all that crazy stuff, liberal gobbledygook, as I call it. But Howard Schultz, if he does run as an independent, don't you think that guarantees President Trump a second term in the White House?
I don't know a lot about him. I liked what he said. Well, I liked at least half of what he said when he really called out Kamala Harris for her ridiculous, preposterous proposal to take away everyone's health care. But look, I think the more if you get an independent candidate like a Bloomberg or the CEO of Starbucks, I think it almost guarantees the election of Donald Trump, and that's why Democrats are absolutely having a hissy fit right now about this. They are terrified of the idea of some kind of third-party candidate like. By the way, Bloomberg's pissed off because he beat him to the punch, because I think Bloomberg was thinking about running as an independent as well. So it's going to be an interesting race right now. But I'll make a prediction. I really do think Kamala Harris took herself out of the race with that statement that she made the other night.
I want to go to other contenders for the throne on the left. I read a piece by Katrina Vanden Heuvel in the Bezos Post that Elizabeth Warren has come up with a big idea that could be a real game changer. Her wealth tax, 2% of assets over $50 million, and this is a big idea. This is great.
By the way, Dan, that's just going to kill me.
I understand. Exactly. That's why we're talking to you. This is somebody who actually would be affected. It turns out Switzerland has something like this. It's not set the way that Warren would want to set it federally. It's set through regional governments. But what they found in Switzerland is that with every 1/10 of a percentage point increase in taxes on wealth, the wealth reported by taxpayers dropped by 3.5%. So like a 35x response to a increase in the wealth tax in Switzerland. People respond to incentives, but this is a big idea for Elizabeth Warren. She's trying to get to the left of Ocasio-Cortez, of Kamala Harris and the rest. How about that wealth tax on people making more than $50 million or above their $50 million threshold? This is just equitable. Who needs more than $50 million?
Yeah, well, there aren't that many people who have more than $50 million. Maybe there's LeBron James, there's Bill Gates, there's Warren Buffett. There's
Oprah.
Not that many. So it's not even about raising money. You're not going to raise any money from a wealth tax. It's just It's a greed and envy tax. And by the way, a wealth tax is just a tax on the money that you save, right? You know, if you save your money, guess what? You have wealth. If you build up a business, you have wealth. Oh no, we can't have that. We can't have people saving and building up their wealth and investing in businesses. We have to take it away. But what they will find when they try to do these things, and by the way, Amy put it very well, that what you've got now on the Democrat side of the aisle is these people crawling all over each other, clawing each other to get to the left of the person in front of them. I mean, it's who can raise taxes the most and who can provide the most dingbat health care program where the government's going to run the whole thing, and it's going to be on and on and on. And by the way, you know, I would just look at the Chicago school system. I mean, you want to see a model of efficiency, right? I mean, you can't find much better than the way that the government has run the schools in Washington, D.C. and Chicago. So, you know, this is a race to the left. And I don't say this with any joy. I mean, when I moved to this town 30 years ago, there were level-headed Democrats like Bill Bradley and Dick Gephardt and Sam Nunn and, you know, Lloyd Benson and people like that. Those people would never be Democrats today. I mean, they're way too. And the real problem with the party is it's these young Turks. You know, that are the worst. It used to be the old bulls we had to worry about. The old bulls are conservative compared to these young socialists. They're as I said earlier, they're Stalinistic in the way they want to kind of transform everything in America.
But wait a second. For these people making more than $50 million in assets, 2% above $50 million, 3% assets over $1 billion, that's just 75,000 households that would be affected.
Wow. In
a country of 330 million people. And it would raise, according to Elizabeth Warren's economists, that's a funny statement.
Right, that is funny. How much?
$2.75 trillion over 10 years. Think of all the damage you could do with that $2.75 trillion in government spending. So, but what about that? You know, why should we?
Did you say $2.75 billion or trillion?
Trillion.
Trillion.
Good
luck with that. I mean,
well,
you know,
these are Elizabeth Warren's economists. I mean, who can question them?
But what liberals don't understand is people get really, really rich. For the most part, are not very stupid. You're not going to be able to. They'll look all over the place for that $50 million, and they're never going to find it because Bill Gates and Warren Buffett, those people, they all have their money hidden away in these big trusts. You're not going to get any money from that tax. It's all about just dashing the rich because they're evil because they were successful and achieved the American dream. That's what this is all about. We should call it the American Dream Tax.
I like that. Oh, that's a good response. All right. We'll workshop that. Steve Moore, Wall Street Journal columnist, CNN chief economist. Steve,
how cold is it there?
It's so cold. Chicago politicians have their hands in their own pockets. Hi-oh. Thanks, Steve. See ya.
It's minus 23. And Stephen Moore joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
Listen to podcasts of Dan and Amy from the AM 560 mobile app. Download it today at 560theanswer.com/mobile.
Hi, I'm attorney Stephen Leahy, and I help business owners, 1099 employees, and those with unfiled tax returns solve their IRS problems. And I'm also the host of the IRS Radio Hour.
And I'm Jim Leahy, the co-host of the IRS Radio Hour, heard right here every Sunday evening at 5 on AM 560.
The Answer. I know you want a local attorney you can look in the eye and hold accountable for solving your IRS problem, not some big box outfit without a Chicago connection. So today we have a special offer, a good night's sleep.
A good night's sleep? Are you trying to give away a pillow?
Great guess, Jim. But no, I want to help people solve the problems that are keeping them up at night. If you fear the IRS will take away your money, freeze your bank account, garnish your wages, visit your home or job, and now they can take away your passport, you need to hire me to solve your IRS problem for good.
Call attorney Stephen Leahy, your Chicago IRS answer man at 312-664-6649, 312-664-6649, and get the IRS out of your business and your life for good.
Nothing speaks louder about an auto dealer than a happy customer. And at Joe Cotton Ford, they have many.
It's like my family. I never go anywhere else than Joe Cotton Ford. If I have to buy a car, I always go first Joe Cotton Ford. And they have best service ever, and the best price, and the best models.
My overall experience is great. It's easy to buy, it's easy to go through service, and overall, it's just a great experience.
More reasons why folks keep coming back to Joe Cotton Ford. Joe Cotton Ford has the new 2018 Ford EcoSport, the small SUV that's big on standard features for only $18,995, 26 to choose from, with 0% financing for 60 months. The EcoSport SE features heated front bucket seats, a power moonroof with sunshade, rear view camera and reverse sensing system, plus intelligent access with push-button start. Get to Joe Cotton Ford today and save big on EcoSport, Gary and North Avenue in Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com.
It's Dr. David Kolbaba. It's our winter survival kit for this cold and flu season. It's power-packed with natural ingredients, and unlike the flu shot, it's safe and effective. First, it's our Sunny C 1000. It's highly absorbable, and it does not suppress your body's natural killer cells like most other vitamin C supplements do. And when you purchase your first bottle of our Sunny C 1000, I promise to include scientific data to back it up. And I'll also include a vitamin C dosage chart for you to customize how much is best for you, whether you're fighting off a cold or flu or you want a preventative dose to keep you from getting a cold or flu. Sunny C 1000, it's easy on the stomach and it's essential in fighting illness. And when you order your Sunny C 1000 today, be sure to get more information on the rest of our winter survival kit. Call 800-794-1855. It's our Health Quest Radio hotline. And be sure to listen to Health Quest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11. But for now, that number again, 800-794-1855.
Dan Proft here.
And I'm Amy Jacobson, and we wanted to take a minute to say thanks. Thank you to each and every one of you who participated in our annual Food for the Poor campaign.
Because of you, we were able to raise more than $175,000 to provide food for a year and clean water for life for more than 2,200 children and their families in Haiti.
And we're especially grateful to the many business benefactors who supported this campaign. When you hear their ads on this station, we'd ask that you support their business as a way of thanking them for their generosity. And just because the Christmas season is over,
and we're starting a new year, that doesn't mean the need goes away. You can still make a $50 donation to Food for the Poor.
Just call 844-862-4673. That's 844-862-4673.
Or visit 560theanswer.com/food. That's 560theanswer.com/food. And thanks again for your generosity.
National competition for your business is eating away at your customer base faster than you can keep up. It's as if they have a back room of digital marketing minions swallowing your customers one by one. And it's not a pretty sight. What if you could beat them with your own minions? The digital marketing experts of Salem Surround make it happen, surrounding potential customers with your message wherever they engage, search, surf, socialize, or review. Take the mystery of digital marketing out of your busy schedule. Salem Surround delivers the customers so you can run your business, making every digital dollar count towards sales success. When you're ready to reach an endless number of customers and achieve total market penetration for increased ROI, get in touch with Salem Surround. You'll get a free analysis of your digital marketing effectiveness and suggested methods that could dramatically increase your sales. Learn more by logging on to surroundchicago.com. Surroundchicago.com, connecting you with new customers.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and you'll have to wait until spring to get the outside of your house painted, but winter, perfect opportunity to get your interior painted. You know, people walk into my kitchen and ask, Amy, did you get new cabinets? No, I save myself thousands of dollars by simply having them painted by the experts at CertaPro Painters. So cross the first project off your 2019 to-do list. CertaPro Painters will ensure a beautiful transformation of your home. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered. In-home with a color consultation or online with their color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
AM 560, The Answer.
Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
Will Trump get a border security funding deal he can sign before his State of the Union address? We'll have the latest from Ed Morrissey, hotair.com at 8:08.
And then later, your favorite James Ingram song. Mine was, well, we'll sing it later, right?
If you sing it, it's no longer going to be anybody's favorite.
And how cold is it now? Let's get the latest on Siberia. And when this Arctic blast is going to end, here is Mike Scott.
27 below right now. It's causing problems. Jim Telemonte along with the traffic story. WIND Chicago News Time. It's 8 o'clock.
The check is not in the mail. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
December was really warm, but I knew we were going to pay for it.
He's a mail carrier in Minnesota who won't have to freeze outside today. The post office is suspending delivery in parts of the Dakotas, Illinois, Iowa, Kansas, Minnesota, Nebraska, and Wisconsin, where Fox's Jeff Manasso is live in ice-cold Kenosha County.
Dave, it feels like 30 below here, minus 50 in parts of Minnesota and North Dakota, where the State Patrol is warning people to stay off the streets. Flights are canceled. Amtrak service also shut down through Chicago in this frigid cold not felt here in the Midwest in decades.
No one should be out in this weather. We have and we will continue to add resources in order to be able to help and support our most vulnerable citizens.
Lisa Morrison Butler with Chicago Family Services. Hundreds also without power from Wisconsin to Minnesota to Sioux Falls, South Dakota. The bitter cold blamed on at least 6 deaths in several states. Dave.
Jeff, President Trump does not agree with his Director of National Intelligence, firing off numerous tweets after Dan Coats told a Senate hearing North Korea isn't going to give up nuclear weapons and ISIS is still a threat.
The group has returned to its guerrilla warfare roots while continuing to plot attacks.
Fox's John Decker live at the White House.
The president tweeting, "When I became president, ISIS was out of control in Syria and running rampant. Since then, tremendous progress made, especially over the last 5 weeks. Caliphate will soon be destroyed, unthinkable 2 years ago." The president also tweeting, "Time will tell what will happen with North Korea," and continuing, "I look forward to seeing Kim Jong-un shortly. Progress being made, big difference." Moments ago, the president writing, "The intelligence people seem to be extremely passive and naive when it comes to the dangers of Iran." Dave?
John, the president also tweeted on the first day of bipartisan border talks in Washington, "If they aren't talking about a wall, they're wasting their time." This is Fox News.
The sun is shining, the skies are blue, but it's minus 23 on the official thermometer at O'Hare. Minus 50 on the wind chill in spots at 8:02 on AM 560. The Answer, and good morning. I'm Mike Scott. That deadly Arctic deep freeze has enveloped the Midwest and is causing schools to close. ComEd says power is out in several areas, and Nancy Powers with the Salvation Army says they're passing out clothes and coffee to the homeless, trying to convince them to still come inside.
In this weather, believe it or not, at 20 degrees below zero, there are some folks that are still going to stay out.
Mayor Rahm Emanuel says major Chicago attractions like the Art Institute and the Field are not opening today.
The temperatures today are not, and rather today, tomorrow, and Thursday are not to be taken lightly. These are actually a public health risk.
Extreme weather conditions prompting Amtrak to cancel all trains into and out of Chicago. The short and long distance trains. Short distance service will be canceled for Thursday as well. Frigid weather blanketing Illinois. It means public school students will stay home in Chicago and hundreds of thousands of suburban and statewide districts. The Archdiocese of Chicago and several colleges and universities saying everyone stay home. In other news this morning, Chicago Alderman Danny Solis resigning as chairman of the City Council Zoning Committee after a scathing Sun-Times report yesterday. Bill Daley getting a big boost in his bid for mayor of Chicago. Cubs owner Tom Ricketts donating $25,000 to his campaign. Chicago sports was a Nets win over the Bulls in Brooklyn, 122-117. College hoops, Northwestern lost to number 24 Maryland. Our Northern Illinois Huskies atop the Ohio Bobcats, 71-60. Fighting Illini tangle with Minnesota tonight, and DePaul will host Villanova. That may be worth the ticket price. It's 8:04 time for the AM 560 Business Beat. And from the Fox Business Network, here's Ginny Casola.
From the Fox Business Network, Apple is reporting a weaker quarter. Its iPhone sales were disappointing, especially in China. and Apple was making less money than a year ago. However, Daniel Ives at Wedbush Securities says Apple Music and other services are making even more money for the company, and he believes Apple was charging too much for its phones in China.
It comes down to China's a debacle, but if they could just get a few things right from a pricing strategy perspective, I think this is something where Cook could turn this around. Services, we believe, is a $400 billion business as a standalone.
The Federal Reserve is wrapping up a meeting today, which will be followed by Chairman Jerome Powell's news conference. Fewer people were applying for a mortgage last week as mortgage rates moved higher. The decline 3% as measured by the Mortgage Bankers Association. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
8:05, a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Winter stinks. Snow, ice, freezing temperatures, more snow. Escape Chicago and join Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. You'll stay at the Marvel Residences Luxury Resort in Nuevo Vallarta, Mexico. It's a beautiful, all-inclusive resort located between Rainforest Mountains and the Pacific Ocean. Don't wait to book your Passport to Paradise trip with AM 560 and Apple Vacations. Visit 560theanswer.com/passport. That's 560theanswer.com/passport.
If you're a realtor or managing broker purchasing online leads, please listen to this important message. Team Hochberg and the Miller Mortgage Group at Homeside Financial have developed a proprietary lead conversion system called LCS, which helped Kevin Glover of RE/MAX Professionals quadruple his online lead conversion. Team Hochberg and the Miller Mortgage Group would like to invite realtors and managing brokers to a complimentary lunch at White Eagle Country Club in Naperville on Thursday, January 31st to hear Kevin explain how LCS helped him increase his sales from $980,000 to $9.8 million last year. To register for the complimentary lead conversion system luncheon, go to 56david.com and click on the events tab. The LCS is complimentary for all our realtor partners. Seating is limited, so please go to 56david.com and click on the events tab to register to learn how to convert more online leads and sell more homes.
Homeside Financial Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, MB 66761019, NMLS 1124061.
Some job recruitment sites overload your inbox with resumes. Glassdoor knows not just any will do. From 62 million job seekers, Glassdoor only matches you with qualified candidates who have the skills and experience your small business needs to grow. In fact, Glassdoor hires are 30% more likely to stay with your company longer. And Glassdoor can help you find that perfect candidate in half the resumes. Go to glassdoor.com/hire. Glassdoor. Find the right fit for your business.
When it comes to your identity and devices, there's no soundtrack to let you know you might be in danger. That's why you need LifeLock with Norton Security to look out for the silent threats of today's digital universe. No one can prevent all identity theft or cybercrime or monitor all transactions at all businesses. But LifeLock detects threats to your identity, and Norton protects against online threats. Join now at lifelock.com and use promo code NEWS to get 10% off your first year.
8:07 and a check on the roads in the AM 560 traffic center. Here is Jim Talamonte.
Metra electric line service has been suspended due to wire problems, so there is now no service on the electric line or the South Shore line this morning. Metra reports significant delays on most of the other lines as well. On the roads, it's pretty quiet, but inbound I-57 has a jam. From 111th to 107th, the roadway is blocked, 107th to Holstead, as crews get a car out of the ditch. No delays to report on the Edens, Kennedy, the Eisenhower, the Stevenson of the Ride. Bishop Ford wide open. Same goes for Lakeshore Drive. Illinois tollways are looking fine. No delays to report on I-80 or 8094. Indiana Toll Road is clear now, so is I-65, with thousands of canceled flights. It's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast from the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center and meteorologist Steve Williams.
A wind chill warning is in effect through Thursday. Sunny, breezy, and cold today. High -13. Clear and very cold tonight. Low -24. And then not as cold tomorrow. Increasing cloudiness. Snow by nightfall. The high tomorrow at -3. I'm Steve Williams on AM 560. The Answer.
Currently -23 at O'Hare. -20 along the lakefront. Wind chills dipping from minus 47 to minus 52 at every area reporting station. Your next news update is at 8:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Watch today's show live right now on the Income Store live video stream at 560theanswer.com.
This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560, The Answer.
Good morning, Dan and Amy, taking your how cold is it jokes all morning. Johnny Carson style, preferred. Also, Mike Scott has been updating you, as have some of our listeners, about power outages in the area.
Wind chill right now, minus 42 degrees?
It's a little nippy out.
No, honestly, because I walked somebody's dog earlier this morning, and I walked outside, it literally took my breath away. And you have to have everything covered. That's why I have goggles, because I don't want the corneas of my eyes to be destroyed.
Oh, my gosh.
Well, it's true.
Yeah.
This is scary. This is deadly, serious stuff out there. That's
Well,
why
if you
it's
have
a state
no-
of emergency for Illinois, Wisconsin, and Minnesota.
If you have no power, that's a deadly emergency. If you're just a couple of candy asses in studio like us, and you go to your car, and then you go to the next one, so come on.
Well, I
Don't make
parked
a big
my
thing
car
about
outside. You have covered heated parking where you live, so we had about a 70-degree difference between our starts this morning.
Well,
no, it's all right. It's all right. Just put vegetable oil on your door so that you can open up your car door. It doesn't freeze, and you'll be all right.
Nobody needs to do that except you.
I did it.
I mean, I've never heard that before.
Really?
Nobody has ever heard that before.
That's not true.
Mike's
Mike's heard about it. When I lived in northern Minnesota, they did that. Plus, we had a charger to heat our car. We had to pay $15 a month.
Now there
and
is
plug
that.
our car into the heater.
Have you heard about anybody doing that this century?
Not vegetable oil.
Yeah.
Well, what,
No.
baby oil then?
No, mineral oil or a silicone spray. Silicone spray is the best.
Yeah, well, that's all right.
Yeah, vegetable
All right.
oil will still freeze on you, though.
No, it hasn't frozen.
Okay.
That's good. I'm glad.
All right,
Good for
you hosers from the Great White North, you take up these home remedies some other time. Anyway,
silicone spray is not a home remedy.
if you have any updates in your area, of course, call in or text in.
Please.
312-642-5600, Turnkey.pro. Answer line 64636DA, Turnkey.pro text line. Let us know what's going on in your locale so we can spread the word in case others are in need of any assistance in this bitter cold. But now we switch gears and do what we're supposed to do, which is talk a little bit about politics and policy. And we've got a State of the Union address coming up next week. The Democrats have slated one of their losing candidates from 2018 to give the Democrat response. That should be interesting. But even before that, you got Trump's pre-Super Bowl interview on Sunday. He's agreed to sit down with CBS. What is he going to say? Will he have a deal in place by then or by his February 5th State of the Union address? For more on this, we're pleased to be joined by our friend Ed Morrissey, senior editor for hotair.com and columnist for The Week. Ed, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, good morning. I managed to thaw out enough to be on the phone today. It's great.
Good. You use the silicone spray then or the
I
mineral
use
oil?
the silicone.
Yeah.
Silicone spray is the way to go, man. That's
All
the way
right.
to go.
There you go. So we've seen some reports, nearly 36 House Democrats, including Sherry Bustos here from Illinois, coming to Nancy Pelosi saying, let's do a deal. We're not opposed to funding for some sort of border barrier. Mark Warner, Democrat from Virginia on the Senate side, has essentially said the same, even though, of course, they're simultaneously critical of Trump. And Republicans, one report out yesterday, seem to have given Trump the green light to invoke emergency powers if there is no deal, begrudgingly so. So are we on the cusp of a deal? Does something get done on the Hill before February 5th?
Well, I think that there's certainly room here for it. I mean, the deal out there has been out there for at least a year, which is some sort of border wall funding for some sort of DACA extension or normalization. And the bigger you go on DACA, the bigger you got to go on the border wall. That's a deal that could have been made a year ago when Chuck Schumer drove the shutdown, and it didn't get made because the courts sort of hit the brakes on considering whether DACA was constitutional or not, and took the pressure off of getting a decision made. So with another shutdown looming, you got to think that there's at least some room for that, but the shutdown was not popular. Another shutdown will be less popular. And the emergency declaration is basically a way to the practical result of an emergency declaration will be that the courts will have to deal with it for probably several months, maybe into a couple of years, which means that the funding probably won't generate before the end of Donald Trump's first term.
Well, do you know, I mean, there's already, 652 miles of a wall in place so far. So when you have people like Nancy Pelosi coming up and saying, oh, walls are immoral, is she not aware of the fact that there are barriers in place in certain cities?
It's a great question, Amy, and when Democrats are pressed on that, because they have been on a couple of occasions, they say, well, if the border walls are immoral, should we tear down the ones that we already have? And they'll say, oh, no, we don't want to do that. The Border Patrol, Customs and Border Protection Department, are the ones that are asking for more barriers down there. And they're not looking for a 1,900-mile wall, but they have specific areas in mind that they need the barrier up in order to redirect human traffic into an area that they can patrol easier. And I think that that message is getting through. And Democrats started suggesting that they'd be willing to negotiate once the shutdown was over. They didn't want to negotiate in a shutdown. So they've got 3 weeks now to prove that that's what that they were serious about, that they were willing to negotiate if the government was reopened. And so we'll see. I do think that there's some room here. Maybe what you land on is half of the money, rather than $5.7 billion, it's somewhere closer to $3 billion or $2.5 billion, so that both sides can save a little face here. But I do think that there is at least some room here to get some of the border wall funding that Trump is looking for.
The Marxist du jour this week is Kamala Harris. Handicapped the Dem side of the race with her formal entrance and her getting some in-kind support from CNN. Against the backdrop of the prospect of a Howard Schultz or a Bloomberg, one or both, running as independents.
Yeah, no, this is really interesting because what happened on Monday when Kamala Harris declared that not only was she for Medicare for all, but for eliminating private health insurance, is that most of the people in her party came out against that. CNN, in fact, has a story up this morning that rounds up reaction to that where Dianne Feinstein, Dick Durbin, others, Gary Peters, are coming out and saying that's not what we're for. Tim Kaine, they're talking about adding a Medicaid public option maybe to Obamacare, or doing what they call Medicare for More, which is offering it as a buy-in for 55 and older and maybe some first responders. But they're not in favor of eliminating private insurers. So I think she climbed way out on a limb there and has sort of set the mark now for the progressive left in this race. And now everybody else can kind of run a little bit to her right and look more moderate and thoughtful. And that includes Elizabeth Warren and Cory Booker, both of whom declined to endorse Kamala Harris's suggestion for Monday night. So I think she really put herself out on a limb. On the other hand, Kamala Harris is from California. She's the only one so far. Gavin Newsom might get in, but she's the only one from California. California is a big ATM state for Democrats. Got a lot of money coming out of California. California moved their state up in the primaries now, so it's the biggest state with the biggest delegate selection that's going to go early in the primary election, and that is going to benefit Harris if no other Californian is in the race. So you can't discount her, but I think she might have shot herself a little bit in the foot on Monday.
And then also we learned this morning that the mayor of Los Angeles is not going to be running. And Garcetti, that he's not going to be running for president. But how soon do you think Biden or Clinton decide to make their big announcements?
Well, there's another thing about Hillary Clinton mentioned earlier this week, too, that she was still considering it. The Hill has a really interesting post up this morning. I'm just reading through it, actually, where several Democrats go on record as basically saying it's a bad idea and she shouldn't do it. And I think that that's a really strong message back to her that the party is no longer going to be the Clintons' party. And so I don't know that Hillary Clinton's really going to get into it. Joe Biden, I think he's going to have to make a decision pretty quick. I mean, it's starting to fill up here, and he would make a big splash if he got in, but he's got to get in at some point early enough to where donors and organizers will rally to his banner rather than get jobs someplace else.
One of the big issues the Democrat Socialists are taking up is more redundant gun control legislation or vestigial gun control measures. Kamala Harris took on the issue in the sentimental fashion the left does on the CNN town hall. But if this is against the backdrop of this report issued yesterday by law enforcement, so basically concluding they have no idea why the Las Vegas shooter did what he did. And so isn't that interesting, the limits of our understanding of our ability to control the human condition or to correct dysfunction in the human condition, and yet what is the left's argument? By banning assault weapons as we define them, we're going to stop the next Vegas shooter. Can you stop something if you don't know why it happened in the first place?
Yeah, no, it's a great question, and I find it very puzzling that somebody would go to all that trouble and not really leave any indications as to all that evil that he did. And there was a ton of preparation that he put into this, and without any idea as to what the purpose of this was. I mean, it's just evil. He was just evil. And I don't know that that's something that you can deal with in terms of like prevention. He didn't break any laws coming up to that point. He bought his weapons legally, and he went through the background checks that people are insisting that will prevent, crime in the future. And I'm for background checks, but it doesn't stop things like this. And most of these incidents that you hear about are incidents where either the weapons were stolen or the person legitimately passed a background check. Background checks don't stop this type of stuff. What stops this type of stuff is, frankly, better mental health screening and better mental health service availability. And even then, the person has to seek the help. This is just part of the human condition, and I think that part of the reason.
Oh, Ed, you're continuing to cling to this antiquated Christian notion that evil exists in the world. Oh, come on.
Are you calling me a bitter clinger?
Ed Morrissey, senior editor for HotAir.com, columnist for the week. Ed, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Take care.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
The more you listen, the more you'll know. This is Chicago's Morning Answer. Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.
This is a special notice to all U.S. taxpayers. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's good news. Due to the financial hardship many are facing in today's economy, the IRS has made it easier to settle delinquent tax problems through a federal program called the Fresh Start Initiative. Qualifying for this program will resolve your tax problem, end all collections, and possibly reduce your back taxes by up to 90%. If you are facing wage garnishments, liens, bank levies, audits, or payroll taxes, it's not too late. Your circumstances may qualify you for this special program, protecting your savings and your assets. If you owe the IRS or state back taxes and cannot afford to pay them back, there's no need to worry anymore. Call the hotline at Victory Tax Solutions to see if you qualify and potentially save thousands. For this free information, call 800-813-1105. 800-813-1105. That's 800-813-1105.
Turnkey IT, you've heard us talk about it for years, and another new year has come and gone. If you're a business owner and still haven't done anything about your company's network and computer system, then listen closely. You and your employees suffer every time something goes wrong with your network, and in most cases, it can take days to hire an IT person to fix it. Maybe you've been lucky and everything's running fine, but how long will that last? Whether you've experienced technical trouble or not, when you do, it costs your company money. But it doesn't have to. Don't wait for a crisis. Turnkey IT can make 2019 the year you've prepared for anything technology throws at you. So get on it. For a limited time, get free lunch for the decision makers of your company when you have Turnkey do a complimentary network audit of your systems. Even if you have a current IT company, a second opinion never hurts. Leave the technical stuff to the pros so you can focus on the important things. Visit turnkey.pro today. That's turnkey.pro.
Signature Bank is Chicago's fastest growing independently owned business bank. It's a bank where relationships still matter. Signature Bank knows your name and your story. I'm Dan Proft, and I know this because Signature Bank is my business bank.
I'm Jim Durkin, founding partner of the Martech Group, a global market research firm based in Chicago since 1985 and a longtime customer of Signature Bank. When our business moved to our current Loop location, I recall seeing Mick O'Rourke and his two business partners, Brian Duncan and Kevin Bastuga, laying the foundation for Signature Bank. When Signature opened its doors in 2006, I was proud to move our accounts there and become a shareholder. Being in the consulting business, the Martech Group has a keen keen understanding of the value of relationships, trust, and attentiveness. Whether dealing with our U.S. practice or our international operations, Signature Bank is always there when we need them. That's why the Martech Group is proud to have Signature Bank as a valued business partner.
Signature Bank is looking for their next success story. To learn more about turning your business vision into reality, visit signaturebank.bank. Signature Bank, helping local businesses succeed. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and you'll have to wait until spring to get the outside of your house painted, but winter, perfect opportunity to get your interior painted. You know, people walk into my kitchen and ask, Amy, did you get new cabinets? No, I save myself thousands of dollars by simply having them painted by the experts at CertaPro Painters. So cross the first project off your 2019 to-do list. CertaPro Painters will ensure a beautiful transformation of your home. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered. In-home with a color consultation or online with their color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
Nothing speaks louder about an auto dealer than a happy customer. And at Joe Cotton Ford, they have many.
Typically, the car buying process, I think a lot of people would agree that it's not a pleasant experience. You look forward to buying a car, but the actual having to negotiate and purchase a car can sometimes be an ugly thing. And the one thing that I've always had here in 19 years, every time we purchased a car, it's been a pleasant experience.
Another reason why folks keep coming back to Joe Cotton Ford. Joe Cotton Ford has the new 2018 Ford EcoSport, the small SUV that's big on standard features for only $18,995, 26 to choose from, with 0% financing for 60 months. The EcoSport SE features heated front bucket seats, a power moonroof with sunshade, rear view camera and reverse sensing system, plus intelligent access with push-button start. Get to Joe Cotton Ford today and save big on EcoSport, Gary and North Avenue and Carroll Stream, or at joecottonford.com.
AM 560, The Answer.
Another black eye for Chicago?
Yeah, but first, real quick, Ralph in Rantoul has a cat question, and so since you're here, we better get it asked and answered. Ralph in Rantoul.
Good morning, Dan and Amy. Amy, I'm not a cat expert, don't have any cats, but if you go outside on a day like today and you throw a cat really high in the air, when it falls to the ground frozen, will it still land on its feet?
It's an excellent question,
You guys are so mean. You know, there's 200,000 feral cats in Chicago, and their lives are on the line today. Who cares?
Because they're being thrown up in the air?
No, because of this frigid, this death-defying weather that we have.
Well, can you answer Ralph's question?
No, Ralph, the cat will land on all fours.
Even frozen?
Not frozen, won't be frozen.
Oh.
Just be sad.
It's interesting. Learned something about felines today.
Well, you're calling them catsicles.
Well,
that's very rude. I tried to capture mine yesterday, and I couldn't do it. I'm going in with a tranquilizer gun.
You should
get a dart in their neck.
You should have built a Romville for cats, like they have on Lower Wacker for humans.
Yeah.
Where you just so they could shelter in place.
Yeah, I'm trying. But even it's so cold in there.
I think that cat fell down into a well. Oh. Well, that may provide some shelter. Although
the thing is, I can catch one easily, but I don't want to leave it.
You can catch one easily. Do you have a net or something?
No,
what do you do?
he trusts me. There's a little level of trust, but I don't want to leave him with the feral cat that'll scratch my eyes out in the bin there. So I don't know what to do. Do you want to come over today and help me?
No, I don't. Not going to do that. But the experience last night was no raccoons, but no feral cats. Then.
Well, yeah, because I lock the cats in the garage now, so that the raccoons can't partake in the free water.
Well, so you do. So you did save cats.
Well, they're there, but I don't know if they're going to be there this time. I really want to get home. I'm anxious because I want to make sure that they're alive. Because it's going to be it's minus 23 right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if they can survive that.
All right. A very special, emotional morning answer. Thanks a lot, Ralph, for breaking down Amy. You couldn't just leave it alone.
No, you couldn't. Coming up on Chicago's Morning Answer.
We're going to talk to Julie Royce, Christian author, speaker, blogger, podcaster, and radio host over at our sister station, a producer of Church in Crisis, which is over at our sister station, WYLL AM 1160, Wednesdays at 6 p.m. And she's going to join us to talk a little bit about, I guess the vernacular is a Me Too movement at Harvest Bible Chapel. We'll talk to her about this specific case in the context of all of the cases involving clergy, as well as cases involving the secular population. That's at 8:38.
And then later, we're really trying to get to the bottom of what happened to that Empire TV star who allegedly was beaten on the streets of Chicago. But first, let's get into the newsroom. Any good news for us, Mike? Any warm-ups around the corner?
Yeah, and the Keys.
Oh.
Padre Island.
Oh, great.
It's
That's Padre.
nice there.
Yeah, sure. The Kennedys, I still think, go on spring break to South Padre Island.
Is that right? 23 below zero this morning. 50 below on the wind chill on average. And at 8:30 this morning, that Arctic deep freeze is enveloping the Midwest as scheduled. Widespread closures, schools, offices, government facilities, even the post office. That cold has been dangerous in the area, so much so that the CTAs turned buses into mobile warming shelters to encourage the homeless to come off the streets in Chicago. Mayor Rahm Emanuel says major Chicago attractions like the Lincoln Park Zoo and the Art Institute are not opening today, and it's the same story for Chicago Public Schools, Archdiocesan schools. About 209 of those will close today. Major universities like DePaul and Northwestern and University of Chicago, many smaller colleges like St. Xavier and Trinity and Palos will close through Thursday, along with major community colleges like Triton and River Forest. However, Chicagoans will never be far from a free Wi-Fi hotspot the next couple of days. Because of the extreme cold weather moving into the region, Xfinity's Wi-Fi network has been opened up, offering broad coverage across the city and suburbs during the deep freeze. The offer will allow mobile phone users to instantly access hotspots with no login credentials required. In other news this morning, Chicago Alderman Danny Solis is resigning as chairman of the City Council's Zoning Committee. His resignation follows a Sun-Times report yesterday that detailed corruption allegations that led to Solis working with the FBI and secretly recording conversations. A driver is dead after crashing an empty school bus in Libertyville. Police say the bus driver struck 3 parked vehicles yesterday outside of Highlands Middle School. The victim died in the hospital. The wreck is under investigation. And Dan and Amy have been talking about it with you this morning. ComEd is now reporting widespread power outages throughout the region. Those power outages stretch from the north, from Round Lake Beach and Mundelein, Northbrook and Elgin, to the south, all the way down to New Lenox and Matson and University Park, and to the west all the way to Warrenville. So there are several thousand without power this morning, likely cold-related. ComEd says they are investigating. Chicago sports, D'Angelo Russell pouring in 30 points. Nets over the Bulls in Brooklyn, 122-117. College hoops last night, Northwestern lost to number 24 Maryland. Northern Illinois beat Ohio 71-60. Tonight, DePaul hosts Villanova. Again, Illinois and Minnesota will play when it's 30 below in the Twin Cities tonight at Williams Arena, taking on the Golden Gophers. In the Valley tonight, Loyola in Northern Iowa, Bradley, Evansville, Illinois State at Drake, and SIU welcomes the Sycamores of Indiana State. The news, a service of Discover. Get your free credit scorecard today, even if you're not a Discover customer. It includes your FICO credit score, and checking your scorecard won't hurt your credit. Learn more at discover.com/credit scorecard. Limitations apply. 8:33 is our time, and we'll have a check of traffic and weather on the way next on AM 560.
Dennis Prager explains why the left does what it does.
Feeling good about yourself is the motto of the left. I am moral, I am wonderful, I fight for this, I fight for that. These are people who have aimless lives. The essence of leftism is meaning for the aimless. purpose for the purposeless.
The Dennis Prager Show. Weekdays at 11, right before Sean Hannity at 2 on AM 560. The Answer.
Sheet metal is a big part of commercial and industrial facilities. Look around your business and you'll quickly notice how many components use sheet metal. From fan systems and hoods to machinery guards and much more. For top quality sheet metal work, get to know the pros at Vans Industrial.
Hi, I'm Dave Van Camp, owner of Vans Industrial. Vans Industrial is an industrial sheet metal contractor that can fabricate all types of alloys up to 1-inch plate. We perform jobs including chutes, hoppers, stacks, siding, and dust collection. We work in material handling facilities including steel, chemical, agricultural, food processing plants, and more. Vans Industrial can also design and perform the engineering for a complete turnkey installation. Our quality work is installed by trained mechanics who will work closely with you to make sure the job is done right.
Vans uses only the best and safest union-trained mechanics, insured at the highest level. Call 833-VANS-IND. That's 833-VANS-IND. Or on the web at vansindustrial.com.
My name is David Hochberg of Team Hochberg, and I have exciting news. To provide listeners with more financing options and lower rates, Team Hochberg is now originating loans for Homeside Financial. Team Hochberg, Chicago-based loan officers, support staff, and in-house underwriters allows us to process and approve loans within days of receiving complete files from our borrowers. I'll be highlighting proprietary loan programs like doing a cash-out refinance up to 95% of the value of your home with a minimum credit score of 680 and construction to permanent loans on both FHA and VA loans. Team Hochberg's new toll-free number is 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-563-2843. Or visit our new website, 56david.com. Team Hochberg has helped thousands of AM 560 listeners, but we can't help if you don't call 855-56-DAVID. That's 855-563-2843. Or visit our new website, 56david.com. Homeside Financial, Equal Housing Lender, Illinois Residential Mortgage Licensee, MB 66761019, NMLS 1124061.
This hourly segment is brought to you by Papa Nicholas Coffee. Papa Nicholas Coffee, a family tradition since 1897.
It is 8:36. Let's get an update on the morning commute. As it is, in the AM 560 Traffic Center, here is Jim Telemonte.
Amtrak has canceled all train originations in and out of Chicago today, including the short-distance corridor trains and long-distance overnight trains. Short-distance services are also canceled for tomorrow. There's no South Shore Line service today at all, and Metro Electric Line service has been suspended due to wire issues. The other Metro lines have delays. We see no delays on the Edens, the Kennedy, the Eisenhower, the Stevenson, or the Ryan. Inbound I-57, traffic stopped from 115th to 107th. The roadway is still blocked from 107th to Halstead. Clear an earlier crash in Salter Roadway. Bishopford Freeway 5, the tollways look good. The only issues right now in northwest Indiana. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560 The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. Your official Chicagoland weather forecast. From the 1-hour heating and air conditioning weather center, sunny, breezy, still cold, extreme cold across the area. High of minus 13 today. Record-breaking temperatures again overnight, low of minus 24. It is 22 below at O'Hare. Next news coming up at 9. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
Don't forget that you can watch Chicago's Morning Answer on the Income Store live video stream every morning at 560theanswer.com.
If you're talking about it, I'll be talking about it. Dennis Prager here. Join me this morning at 11, right here on AM 560, The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. It's so cold.
How cold is it?
Richard Simmons is wearing shorts that come nearly to the half-thigh region. The Carson Classic.
Yeah.
Richard Simmons not exactly current. But,
no.
That's a fun
know
one.
Who he is.
All right.
Yeah, taking your cold jokes all morning long.
Yeah.
Text them into 64636, type in DA.
And your ComEd updates, so less funny.
Yeah,
People suffering power outages, not good. Well, Mike Scott's been on that story as well. So
and it's all over Warrenville, Bolingbrook. It's thousands of people.
And southwest suburbs, too. We heard from Oak Lawn and areas around there. So we'll keep you updated. But moving right along to this interesting story. Julie Royce, she's a well-known Christian author, speaker, blogger, podcaster, radio talk show host, Renaissance woman. She's a journalist and author here in Chicago, and she's produced a special broadcast that's airing on our sister station, AM 1160, WILL AM 1160, Wednesday night at 6 p.m., Wednesday night tonight, Church in Crisis. It's also airing on 4 other Salem stations across the country, Atlanta, Dallas, L.A., Colorado Springs. She's been doing significant reporting on the scandal at Harvest Bible Chapel megachurch in the Northwest Burbs. And
yeah, it's in Rolling Meadows.
Right. Specifically, it's Pastor James McDonald. The special broadcast I mentioned that's tonight at 6 p.m. on YLL covers that scandal, as well as the Willow Creek scandal and several other prominent evangelical megachurch pastors who've had scandals in the past years. And not all scandals are created equally, so we want to distinguish the two. I mentioned the Harvest Bible Chapel scandal with McDonald in the vernacular, sort of the Me Too within the clergy, but it's not really. That's not really. It's most of at least the reporting I've seen revolves around alleged financial improprieties and management style, and more so than, again, with McDonald, anything I've read at least that has anything to do with inappropriate conduct towards women or others of a sexual nature. But for more on her special and this topic generally, we're pleased to be joined by Julie Royce. Julie, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Hey, great to be with you.
So just kind of lay out the case with respect to McDonald and Harvest Bible and what exactly happened, is alleged to have happened, and where things stand within that church.
Yeah, well, the first thing that happened is that they filed a lawsuit against me and 4 other defendants, and this is when I was working on my investigative report for World Magazine. And I actually at that point hadn't published anything. Wow. It was sort of a preemptive move. And so that was the first thing that made headlines. But then in December, I published a World Magazine expose on Harvest Bible Chapel and reporting about things like you mentioned, Dan, a culture of fear and intimidation there, and incidents of bullying that were reported by former elders and staff there, but also financial improprieties. For example, just one of the examples was that McDonald has a broadcast ministry called Walk in the Word, and I discovered that they had actually spent money that had been donated to Walk in the Word, this broadcast ministry, to actually fund a whitetail trophy deer herd up at a camp that they have in Michigan. So, I mean, there's people donating to a broadcast ministry and their money going instead to buy airtime for a deer herd. So kind of some wild stuff going on. So after that, that created quite a bit of stir. And then Harvest actually pulled their Walk in the Word broadcast off of about 2,000 radio and TV stations. Again, I think that may have been a preemptive move. A lot of station managers saying that they were going to pull the program anyway. And then just recently, Harvest said they were going to put James McDonald, their senior pastor, on an indefinite sabbatical from teaching and leadership in Chicago. But they have 7 campuses in Chicago. They have an 8th campus in Naples, Florida, and they said, well, he could keep preaching and teaching down there. The pastor, the lead pastor of the campus down in Naples, objected to that and said, you know what, if McDonald isn't fit to preach in Chicago, he's not fit to preach at my congregation down here in Naples, and he didn't want him to preach there, and actually asked to be removed from being under Harvest, and for that, he just got fired from Harvest for doing that.
What exactly did he do, though? What did he do? What did Pastor James McDonald do?
What did he do? Well, again, there's a number of accounts of bullying. For example, there's an account that a former elder's wife told me about where he had put up pictures of elders' wives up on a wall and shot it with a pellet gun, and this was discovered by some folks. But other folks saying, you know, he's creating just a culture of dread and fear among the staff there. But again, there's also the financial issues, and one of them is him saying that he was going to downsize from a 6,700 square foot home that he owned. He used to own Senator Peter Fitzgerald's home. But then it turned out, after he said that, it was discovered that he had built an actually larger home, a 6,900 square foot home with a 10-car garage and a 2,000 square foot finished basement. And this is, again, after he told his congregation he was going to downsize. So also allegations of some deception and not being very forthright with the congregation.
And so it's sort of this, maybe this is too strong a comparison, but a James Baker or Creo Dollar or whatever these guys, these televangelist guys are that live the lifestyle of the rich and famous on the contributions of their congregants. And if you're not transparent about it, then people legitimately have a problem with it.
Yeah, there's a number of allegations. And again, there was a very public excommunication of 8 former elders back in 2013. And it turns out, and I discovered this in my investigating, that they got excommunicated after they had sent a letter to the current, after these former elders sent a letter to the current sitting elders saying that James MacDonald lacked the qualifications given in Scripture and had some disqualifying qualifications like love of money and outbursts of anger and things like this. And for reporting him to the elder board, the 2 sitting elders that were still, not sitting, former elders that were still at the congregation actually got excommunicated. So, I mean, there's just sort of, again, a culture when you talk to the former elders, the former staff, of just a character flaws in the pastor that aren't being addressed. And again, I think the Jim Baker thing is probably a decent comparison with the way that the money is being dealt with.
And the reason that you chose to pursue investigating this case and other cases is what? Is basically sort of being a good steward of your own, essentially being an accountability check within your own Christian circles, as opposed to waiting for or allowing the D.C. Press Corps or somebody, or the Chicago Press Corps in this case, to do something about it. Is that, we should mind our own shops? Is that sort of the disposition?
Well, yeah, Scripture says that judgment begins with the house of God. And I think when there's situations, 1 Timothy 5:20, for example, says that if you have an elder who is sinning, that you should publicly expose him so that others may take warning.
Yeah.
And so when people came to me and started telling me about these stories of abuse and wrongdoing there, I mean, it wasn't something I really wanted to report on per se, but I felt like there was somewhat of a duty to once people started sharing these stories with me. And really tonight, the special that I'm producing isn't about just dredging up every bad thing that's happened at Harvest, or, Willow Creek has had sort of its Me Too movement. There have been other Sovereign Grace churches for 6 years has been embroiled in, whether or not they reported sex abuse correctly. There's been a lot of this in the church, and really I'm trying to look for in interviewing people that can help us process that and really bring some redemptive solutions and look at, okay, what's happening in the evangelical church that we're having so many of these scandals, and how can we fix it? What's wrong, And so that's really the hope with the program. Yeah,
I mean, I'm Catholic. I wish my church would have done that a lot sooner than it did with respect to the sex abuse scandal in the Catholic Church. So, I mean, this is what you're supposed to do when wrongdoing is brought to your attention. So, I applaud you for doing that.
Well, thanks. And again, it is that hope to bring solutions and not just to wallow in the muck of it. But I think we achieved that. Just some really great guests. I have Vonda Dyer on with me. She was one of the people, one of the women who actually came forward with an allegation of sexual harassment at Willow Creek against pastor there, Bill Hybels. But even to hear how she's processed through that and come to the other side. I also have one of the former elders at Harvest Bible Chapel who was excommunicated in 2013 and has since gone through somewhat of a reconciliation process, but also saying, that didn't really happen. But his story of how he's processed through that. And then just some interesting commentary from someone who's with a ministry called 9 Marks that really tries to help equip pastors and church leaders to build healthy churches. So I think we need to take these moments and not just throw stones, but really try to look for constructive solutions.
Well, the special is tonight, 6 p.m. on our sister station, YLL AM 1160, and it involves two mega churches, two huge congregations in Chicago, Harvest Bible Chapel as well as Willow Creek, as was mentioned. She is Julie Royce, Christian author, speaker, blogger, podcaster, radio talk show host, and investigative journalist who's done the work on Harvest Bible Chapel. And you can catch her program again tonight, 6 p.m. on AM 1160 WYLL. Julie, thanks so much for joining us. Appreciate it.
Oh, well, thanks for having me.
And she joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
There's only one radio show in Chicago talking about today's biggest stories and telling you what they really mean. That show is this one, Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Raj Shah, host of Secure Retirement Radio.
I spoke to one person and, I asked him a simple question is, what do you want to do with your retirement? And he said, I want to protect it. Because if it does go down and not come back, do you have enough time in the market to recover those losses?
Tune in for Secure Retirement Radio with Raj Shah, Chicago's safe money strategist. Sunday mornings at 7 here on AM 560, The Answer.
With so many homeowners fearful of poor service and not knowing who to trust, home remodeling is often delayed. But do you ever wonder why so many remodeling experiences go so wrong? Advanced Design Studio thinks remodeling shouldn't be so painful. Will the project stay on budget and be done on time? If you're nervous about home remodeling, you're not alone. Whether you're contemplating a new kitchen or bath, want an addition to your home, or in need of a whole house transformation, Advanced Design Studio is the company to call. They understand your fears and know how to overcome them. Backed by 27 years of providing positive remodeling experiences, Advanced Design's client service process, called Common Sense Remodeling, puts you first, averting delays and budget overruns to produce a rewarding remodeling experience. Make 2019 the year you overcome your fears and remodel your home, bath, or kitchen. Don't be a bad remodeling story. Use common sense and visit AdvancedDesignStudio.com for more information or call 847-836-2600.
Let's face it, everyone loves to shop. From my experience of meeting a famous politician in the Hermes store in Paris,
to my unforgettable experience test driving my first 600 horsepower car, in which I said, I'll take it before it even hit 60 miles an hour.
we're pretty sure everyone has at least one unforgettable shopping experience. Hello, we are Carrie and
Ken,
founders of Income Store. Have you ever considered shopping for your next income? And we don't mean your next job. Did you know that you can walk into Income Store's website through a door on the left or a door on the right?
if you're just starting out or you simply have more time than money, you're going to enter our website on the left. If you've got more money than time, then definitely the right door is for you.
If you're looking to increase revenue in your home or business and would like to create a brand new, greatest shopping memory, all you have to do is change where you shop. Check out one of the 2 doors at IncomeStore.com.
That's IncomeStore.com.
It's Dr. David Kolbaba. It's our winter survival kit for this cold and flu season. It's power-packed with natural ingredients, and unlike the flu shot, it's safe and effective. First, it's our Sunny C 1000. It's highly absorbable, and it does not suppress your body's natural killer cells like most other vitamin C supplements do. And when you purchase your first bottle of our Sunny C 1000, I promise to include scientific data to back it up. And I'll also include a vitamin C dosage chart for you to customize how much is best for you, whether you're fighting off a cold or flu or you want a preventative dose to keep you from getting a cold or flu. Sunny C 1000, it's easy on the stomach and it's essential in fighting illness. And when you order your Sunny C 1000 today, be sure to get more information on the rest of our winter survival kit. Call 800-794-1855. It's our HealthQuest Radio hotline. And be sure to listen to HealthQuest Radio with me, Dr. David Kolbaba, this Saturday morning at 11. But for now, that number again, 800-794-1855.
Question: do you have a health insurance plan you are not happy with? Well, Bethany and Jason thought they were stuck. Their plan just kept getting more expensive, and Bethany's favorite doctor didn't even take that plan anymore. And then some friends at church told them about Medishare.
With our previous insurance, we were paying $1,200 a month. With Medishare, we now pay around $600 a month.
Yes, they're paying $600 less per month, and that's a pretty typical savings with Medishare. and they actually like Medi-Share more.
I was able to go back to my original doctor that I absolutely loved, and it's just been an absolutely beautiful thing being a part of Medi-Share.
Yeah, so they pay a lot less and they like it more. No wonder Medi-Share is growing so fast. Find out more. They're super easy to talk to. All you have to do is call 844-41-BIBLE. That's 844-41-BIBLE. 844-41-BIBLE.
Hi, this is Amy Jacobson, and you'll have to wait until spring to get the outside of your house painted, but winter, perfect opportunity to get your interior painted. You know, people walk into my kitchen and ask, Amy, did you get new cabinets? No, I save myself thousands of dollars by simply having them painted by the experts at CertaPro Painters. So cross the first project off your 2019 to-do list. CertaPro Painters will ensure a beautiful transformation of your home. And if you want some help with colors, they've got you covered. In-home with a color consultation or online with their color visualizer. Don't put it off. Time to hire CertaPro Painters, your residential and commercial painting experts. You can schedule a free estimate online at CertaPro.com. That's Certa with a C, or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. Each CertaPro Painters business is independently owned and operated. Get a free estimate at CertaPro.com or call 1-800-GO-CERTA. CertaPro Painters, we do painting, you do life.
AM 560, The Answer.
This just in, John Kasich is a real ruling class prick. Boy, what a surprise. John Kasich, per a comedian, some equally obnoxious comedian named Julie Klausner, Hulu sitcom Difficult People. Don't know it.
Never heard of it.
Anyway, she's sitting on an Alaska Airlines flight, so is John Kasich. And John Kasich gets bumped for a pilot that needed to be on that plane.
Oh, to be transported to another city to fly a plane.
Yeah, the pilot needed to fly last minute aboard the plane. Bumped Kasich out of his seat, but instead of taking the downgraded seat he was assigned, he took this Julie Klausner's seat. The funny thing is about the funny thing about it, she said, when I tweeted about it, is I realized both sides hate him. Just having interacted with him or interacted near him, I never met anyone so, I don't know why it's blanked out, douchey and obnoxious and just dripping with disdain for people who in his mind aren't as important as he is. I hope he goes away forever. He sucks. Yeah.
Wow.
I think there's a lot of people who could get behind that statement with respect to Kasich, but the whole ruling class mentality, I mean, Kasich sort of does drip that ruling class mentality, probably has something to do with being in public office for the better part of 2 decades.
Yeah, but if you paid for a first-class seat, you should have the right to sit in that seat. I hate when they do that.
He got reassigned, Alaska Airlines, you get reassigned. For a pilot that's got to make the trip, that's got to be on that flight, so you make some accommodations. I mean, is it really that much? No, they weren't saying, they didn't throw him off the flight. He's got to catch another flight. They didn't change his schedule. They said, you got to take a little bit less comfortable seat. Big deal. Who are you? I mean, you're a sort of John Kasich on planes. I know.
Well, it depends. Where were they flying from? Where to where?
You're the person who had David Dow pulled off that plane. That's you. That was you, wasn't it?
It was me. Sorry.
Yeah.
Well, I need to know how far the flight.
You don't
how long the flight was.
People like you have problems with people's cologne. You want them thrown off the flight. You have problems with people's size. You want them thrown off the flight.
Mm-hmm. I want them to buy 2 seats.
When we go on our radio
it's called
station,
Passport to Paradise.
Yeah, when we do that,
Taste of Freedom. Yes,
there's
we're gonna breathe in freedom in Mexico.
We start with a full plane. By the time we take off, there's 6 of us left.
I have to go home. I have to go home. I have to go home. I have to go home.
I do try. I am a little demanding. I like the extra legroom, and if I pay for something, I want to get it. How long was the flight?
New York to San Francisco.
Oh, that is
5 hours.
Almost a 6. No, that's almost a 6-hour flight. No way in the world would I give up a first class seat on that. No, thank you. Absolutely not.
How about for an extra bag of peanuts?
No, they'd have to pay me. They'd have to reimburse me the money that I spent on the first class seat, or I would not move.
What if they let you?
I wouldn't move.
What if they let you sit with Bunky? You could bring your dog with you.
I don't care. Bunky doesn't sit in.
You wouldn't move.
Funky sits in first class.
A pilot needs to be in the seat. We don't have any first class seats.
Would not
you would
move.
not move.
Nope. The pilot could sit in the back. It's his problem, not mine. If he doesn't know how to get his way to work, that's not my problem. Sorry, buddy. He can sit in the back, or he can sit in the jump seat, which flight attendants do when they are out of position and they need to get to the cities and there's not enough seats. So he doesn't have to be any different than a flight attendant.
That response draws to mind Julie Klausner's comment on Jen Kasich. I don't know. I hope he goes away forever. He sucks.
So bad. What are you going to do to stay warm today, Dan?
I'm going to wear my hat. I've got a lot of comments on my hat of people watching on the stream. None of them are complimentary.
Worst. Well, first of all, it needs to be washed, or you need to get the dog hair off of it. And I can't believe how much you pay to join Olympia Fields. That's the best they can do?
Well, they didn't give me this hat with my membership. I don't know. I got this hat somewhere along the line.
And it says Olympia Fields on it?
Yeah. I'm going to wear it tomorrow, too, because it's going to be Sub-Zero tomorrow.
I don't get the problem with the hat.
Thank you, Mike.
He looks like one of the Smurfs. You look like Sweepy Surf.
Not far now, Papa Smurf.
Thanks so much for making us part of your morning.